Fix chat.
Oh. Wait, how do I get up there?
Chat.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Pop-up chat. I hate that OBS doesn't pick up automatically the chat from like the stream it's doing. I constantly have to like
Ice Mountain Zone.
fix the link to it. Okay, there we go. For a second there, I thought it wouldn't work. Oh boy. I think that's
maybe
it for
Superstar
now.
Saga after this. Uh-oh.
How far along are you with the script on your Clone Wars? Video.
I've got the. I'm pretty much ready to record. I'm actually going to record a section later today, after the stream. But it's almost 11,000 words. So that's roughly. I think it's like 26 pages, something like that, double spaced.
Do you
Which
use
is just easier to read.
do you use like Google Drive for it?
Yeah, I just use Google Docs to write out my scripts.
That's what I
use
do too.
I use Word.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Google Drive has Word on it and Excel.
Yeah, that's true. I prefer Microsoft Word.
Uh,
And it's nice because I just save all my Word files in my Google Drive. Because I got the 100 gigabyte plan, so I just save all my Word files. I just find Word to be a lot more versatile than Google Docs.
fair enough.
Yeah, I like Google Docs just because all I need is the browser.
Oh
and
yeah,
I can access it from my phone, and I don't have to think about it.
I need to do a lot. I need to do a lot more with Word documents, so I kind of need that extra. I need
The
that
extra
extra
functionality.
leeway. Yeah.
I honestly, if I only had one device, I could do all my stuff within just like Notepad, because it's all. I do use the comments feature in Google Docs a lot, just like commenting on, like, oh, I want this certain visual for this part of the video, or this, that, and the other thing. But yeah.
Oh no.
Wait, how many words did you say you have already? Was it 11,000 or 1,100?
Oh, 11,000.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's gonna be probably about an hour-long video, and it's part 1 of 6.
Oh shit!
How the fuck am I supposed to breathe, cut?
It's gonna be a chunky boy.
Damn, I like my part 1 critique of Assassin's Creed Mirage has 10,000 words, and it's an hour and 20 something minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting.
Damn, I cannot wait to see it.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's gonna be, there's 18 total episodes that Filoni wrote or directed, and so I've broken it up into 3 episodes each that I cover in each part. So this first one is just 3 episodes of the show. That I'm covering.
Damn.
In depth, a lot of fun, quippy jokes, that type of thing. So it's gonna be cool.
I'm eager to see it. Clone Wars is like, or the prequels era is my favorite like time zone of Star Wars.
I agree. It's a very fun time period. They've done a lot with it. Some of it good, some of it less good. And I think it's the most fun era. Like there's the most fun stuff going on. You got the bounty hunter factions. You got Obviously the actual Clone Wars. You get the Jedi at the height of their powers. Lots of cool stuff going on in the Clone Wars era.
The best way to describe the prequel era, it's like a mess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like a fun mess.
True. Way better than the fucking sequels.
Oh my gosh! Don't even get me started.
Time. Every fucking time. Every time I think of Star Wars, I get the fucking like demon voice in the back of your head that's like, they're sequels. Oh god.
It's like Lion King. It's like what about that shadowy place?
You just gotta
Those are the
pretend it don't
sequels.
exist.
Yeah, dead ass.
You
Oh
must never
my
go
God.
there, Simba.
I'm pretty sure there's a meme like
There's gotta be a
specifically like that for Star Wars.
Yeah, that's how I feel. You must never go there.
That is forbidden territory.
Yeah.
That's basically
Yeah.
the 9 realms for How to Train Your Dragon.
I'm actually interested to hear. Are you guys book fans of How
Yep.
to Train Your Dragon?
I've never read the books. I've known about the books, but the books are so different from what we got. I
Exactly.
treat them as a separate continuity, kinda.
Mhm. Yeah, I've never read the books. So, Ethan, did you say that you're big on the books?
I've never I'm not big on books, but I have been wanting to read the How to Train Your Dragon books.
Oh, okay.
Like I feel like I'm at the point now where it's like maybe I should see what it's all about. But I'm not super big on books. The only thing that's really got me back into reading is the Sonic IDW comics, and I want to try and read Steel Ball Run.
Nice, dude.
Considering Ethan just recently watched or rewatched the third movie in How to Train Your Dragon, I think the first like 3 words or 4 words are gonna hit you like a truck.
Can you repeat that?
So, because you recently watched The Hidden World,
Yeah.
in the books, like the first sentence, I think it is, or like the first couple of words.
There were
um,
dragons when I was a boy.
Yep, that's gonna hit you like a truck.
I feel like that's gonna hit. I absolutely
Uh,
think that's gonna. I know. I remember hearing about that. It's like there were dragons when I was a boy, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna feel that.
the irony of that line, though, like with the 9 realms murdering everything, and then the live
Yeah.
action butchering it. Like, unironically,
Uh-huh.
you can use that line to actually mean the franchise was good when I was a boy.
Yeah. There were dragons when I
Yeah,
was a
there were
boy.
dragons when I was a
now
boy.
now they're just like
Smudge, CGI smudge.
oh, this is Angel Island? Wow.
I-
Oh.
We've been live for like a good
Oh wait, we're alive now?
we've been live for like 8 minutes. I've been
That's crazy. You could have given me a heads up.
again, you can say whatever the
just
fuck you
missed all
want
your
here.
racial slurs.
It's a free speech zone. That's the thing. I don't endorse anything the people on the podcast say, so it's at your own risk type shit.
That's fair, I guess.
But I'm not gonna stop you from saying whatever the fuck you want. Like, I hate that. The whole
That's completely
limitation.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
fair.
Censorship is one of the like main fucking reasons why I hate the internet nowadays. Like fucking
Right.
Call of Duty, like an 18 plus game. You cannot say faggot, you cannot say bitch, you cannot say anything.
Yeah,
So,
you can't curse at all. It's supposed to be an M-rated game.
Yeah, M-rated game, yet you find fucking 16-year-olds and fucking like snowflakes everywhere.
Uh-huh. That's fair.
But you also have the mix of the LGBTQ shit, and I'm like,
Oh,
so
yeah.
what the fuck is going on here?
Look at how they massacred my boy.
Oh, look how they massacred everything. Like, everything.
How does it feel to live long enough to see all your favorite franchises go up in flames?
Oh God, I've heard that
wish I
line
had,
ages
I wish I
ago.
had died 10 years ago.
No, I just wish that the right we chose better in terms
Yeah,
of people getting
Hey,
in charge of shit.
exactly.
I mean, hey, I don't. For me, it's like I've already said my. I don't care. I got an entire backlog of like the greatest hits of all time.
Oh
I can
yeah,
fly off into the sunset, bro.
same year. Like if the internet goes down, I know I have a fucking
Hey,
masterpiece of
man.
a franchise I can watch offline.
Exact.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. That's
Well, that's
literally what I'm saying. It's. I just have an entire computer dedicated to all the classic hits, and I'll just give that to my kids. Like, here, this is what you're gonna
Yeah.
play.
Oh yeah, true.
From the olden
Just
times.
If I ever have
yeah,
kids,
I
I'm
will.
not gonna
That's
let
my
them,
goal. That's
bro.
literally one of my goals. It's like to craft like the most like user-friendly device, so that way my kids can use that and be like, hey, you want to play some Nintendo? You want to play some good like game? Like here.
Like in general, like if I have kids, I'm just gonna give them like a phone or a tablet that has no internet connection, nothing, and have all the great stuff like downloaded on it so they can just watch whatever.
When I
Yeah.
was a child, there were fandoms.
Oh God. Well, there's still fandoms. It's just nowadays they're borked to hell.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
The Sonic fandom is going super hard these
the
days.
Sonic fandom is also quite a weird one.
Oh,
Dude,
absolutely. I'm not questioning that.
What are your thoughts on the Sonic movies? Because I watched the first two
I
with my kiddo.
absolutely love the Sonic movies so
Dude, they're
much. Like,
fun.
oh,
They're super
they
fun.
are. Oh my god. Like Sonic Movie 3 is my most anticipated movie of the year.
I
it
haven't
out
yet?
seen them.
It's not out. It's coming out in December.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen them. And from the perspective of somebody that hasn't seen them and just only heard from people online talking about the movies, they sound pretty overrated.
As a crazy Sonic fan, oh my god, it's so good. I love it. I love the times that we're in.
I mean, they're not like masterpieces or
Oh,
anything
Well, I'm not
like
gonna
that.
sit. I'm not gonna
No,
sit
no,
here and say they're
I never
masterpieces,
thought,
but for
and
the
I
but
haven't
for the
encountered
Sonic community,
people.
oh god, this is incredible.
I haven't really
Yeah.
encountered people that say that it's a masterpiece. Like, for example, The Last Jedi. Oh, it's a masterpiece.
Get out of here.
The live action How to Train Your Dragon. Oh, it's perfect. It's a masterpiece, bro. I've seen posts of like the behind the scenes Astrid fucking.
Yep, I've seen it.
Oh God, and the caption, the title of the fucking picture is like, she's so perfect. I'm like, oh God, help me.
That's it's gonna be something.
It's a mess. Oh, hello, Iron. Welcome to the party.
What's up, Mandy?
I think his microphone might not be working.
Damn.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Hmm.
That's something on my mind, like a question about a franchise earlier when we were talking about Sonic.
Well, I really enjoyed the Sonic movies. Um, if hopping back over to the point though about like showing your kids the good stuff.
Oh
I
yeah,
Oh
I
yeah, go ahead.
remember now. I was about to say after like the whole I'll have them like an offline iPad with all the good shows downloaded on it so they can just watch that instead of being brain rotted by TikTok and whatever the fuck is online nowadays. If I ever
Right.
catch them playing Fortnite, I will shoot the fucking device. I'll make sure that thing never runs again.
Yeah, that'd be worse than catching them doing drugs. It's like, do
I'd
not get on
like I'd
Fortnite.
rather catch them smoking weed and fucking talking shit about whatever than playing that garbage or
That is
doing brain rot
crazy.
shit.
Yeah, I recently, me and my kiddo, played. We played the Lego Star Wars games for the first time, and he just had a complete blast. And they're so simple. They're so not brain rotty. It's just like do the puzzles, run around, shoot the stormtroopers. He had a blast with it.
It is a Lego game. For the most part, Lego games are like pretty good.
Yeah, but they're simple, and
Yeah.
that's what I love about them. Like my kid is
I'm
4.
gonna make I'm gonna
And
make my
he's
kid
able to
start with
play
the DS and work his way up the Nintendo generations.
There you go.
I'd be like,
Start at the
I'll give him
bottom.
the easiest games. I'll give him like the simplest, easiest games, like New Super Mario Bros. Then I'll work his way up, you know. Like you're
Exactly.
training
You
up
got to
your
earn
kids
your
now,
place
bro.
here, boy.
You gotta earn your place. I wouldn't want him to play like Unleashed because he's gonna get hammered.
Bro, my kids will start with Dark Souls. I don't give a shit.
I want my kids to enjoy gaming, not like rage every time they play. Like I don't want them to go through that. At least not in the early stages.
Oh, actually, good question. When you guys rage at video games, do you like smash shit?
No.
I just kind of like jump around a little bit. And I'm like, God damn it!
That's basically it. The worst I've ever done is like punch my desk. But that's like
I did slam my desk once, but like I think the worst was like I just picked up like a pillow and I threw it across the room because like I looked at my controller and I'm like I can't throw this, bro.
no.
I can't throw
No,
this.
I never damaged like a computer like a equipment, but I did punch I do punch my table because it's a pretty sturdy ass table. And
Technically, gotta
it's
use equipment too.
very rarely. It only happens when bullshit kills me in like COD or
I just kind
whatever
of
the
like
fuck.
I just kind of jump and be like, ah, damn it.
I think for me, I'm just cognizant of how bad I am at games. So I'm just like, I died. I'm like, yeah, that's my fault.
Yeah, like if
Yeah,
it's
alright,
my fault,
time to try again.
I'm fine with it. Like I don't rage as much. I'm more like, God fucking damn it. But when I die
Uh-huh.
from bullshit, like shitty game development or glitches or basically garbage fucking gameplay, it gets to
Game
the point
design,
where I
yeah.
punch the disc.
I get that.
Yeah, if it's like a glitch that kills me, I'm like if I go to heal and it doesn't go, and then I get
Oh,
one shotted after that, I'm like, okay, come on.
the only
Come on, guys.
time I really came close to actually throwing a controller was when I played Assassin's Creed Unity, and it was like a beginning mission, and it was one of the shittiest fucking checkpoint ones where I almost made it to the end. I leaned against the wall, did a stealth assassination around the corner, and then my character literally fucking like goes through the wall and falls through the floor, and then I had to reset all the way back to the start of the mission.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Oh god.
Sonic Unleashed Eggman Land for me.
That controller could like it was sweating. That plastic was terrified. It was trembling in my hand.
Just turning back into dinosaur.
What was his name? Oh yeah,
Or-
Wings of Redemption. Like that motherfucker. Oh God,
Oh my
help the
gosh, that
controller
guy.
in the guy in that guy's hands. The motherfucker somehow developed the skill of shutting down the game he's playing, or Call of Duty mainly, while he's throwing the controller.
Yeah, he's able to like perfectly hit the off button on the Xbox or whatever.
Oh no, just quitting the game, not even the Xbox.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just somehow manages to like in split second hop out of like through the menus, hop out of the Call of Duty game while throwing the controller, wait a few seconds, and then like rummages in like his plastic like a cup like cardboard box besides him, grabbing another controller.
That's funny.
I've also seen the generic Russian rager where he like punches the shit out of a keyboard, throws it over his head, and then grabs another one from a box next to him.
That almost seems like it's just for show.
I don't know if it's for comedy or people need a different hobby.
Yeah. Yeah, the most frustrated I've ever been with a game, and it might have been just like a glitch, but when I was playing God of War 2018, it was like right after it came out on
Ooh.
PC, and I think it was still a little buggy, but I was fighting I was fighting a bunch of those like angel demon, like the Valkyrie, um, and for some reason like none of my shots were hitting, or if they hit, like the damage meter wouldn't move at all. And it's not like I was on like the highest difficulty. I think I was on like, I might have been on God of War or the one that's right beneath that, but I was like, this can't be real. And then they would hit me and my health would like shoot down. So I was like, what the heck is going on? And it took me probably like 2 hours to grind through that one combat encounter
I
just because of
actually
the bugs.
well,
Hello?
recently. Hello there. We
Hi,
can
you
hear
me
you.
now. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Mr. Monkey Man is here.
Yep. Not very good with technology. I think we should all reject modernity, return the monkey.
Yes.
No, no. I
It's the
enjoy
tragedy of
toilet
the Iron
paper.
Monk.
Thank you.
But yeah, we were talking about video games, right?
A bit. I recently, like a couple months ago, I played God of War on PC, the 2018 one. I played it on normal difficulty, and I swear to fucking God, there's that one level where basically the Kratos goes into the white light, and when he comes back in like a few seconds, Atreus killed like a couple hundred fucking monsters, and it's
Oh,
been
yeah.
days for him. Like the
Oh, I remember that.
yeah, that moment where you start like mowing through, like you have to go up a like pretty narrow path in like a spiral fucking movement. I swear to God, that is the most disgusting spam bush I've ever fucking encountered in a video game. I was literally spamming shield and like fuck, what do you call it? When you block
Side
and then
attack or
immediately
heavy-
attack back.
Oh, like a parry attack. or
Parry
whatever?
riposte type deal.
Yeah, riposte,
Yeah. I was literally spamming shield and parry riposte button and it was working. I wasn't literally brain rot in hand. Like I wasn't thinking, I was just spamming two buttons and it was working somehow. It was like the most annoying gameplay I've ever seen.
But I figured out why my mic wasn't working. I accidentally hit the giant mute button.
Oh
That would
god.
do it.
I tried restarting my computer. That didn't work. I'm like, what the hell's the problem? I'm like, oh, there's a mute button, and I hit it. So I'm not very good with technology, folks. If you haven't caught that yet.
No
My,
worries.
my microphone doesn't have a mute button. It's so it's idiot proof.
Mine does. But it's also idiot proof because when I mute it, the lights are off.
Well, yeah, but I just didn't realize that the light being red meant it was muted. Whoa, what was that?
Copy.
I didn't realize that the light being red meant it was muted. I just thought it meant like it was off. So I was like, how do I turn it on? But then I
Wait.
realized it was muted.
Do you have like a SteelSeries headset or something? Or is it
No,
like
I'm using
its own
the-
mic?
It's a mic. I'm using the Razer Serene Mini.
Oh god, you overpaid.
Is it a shitty mic?
No, Razer is
Sounds
like
fine.
the Apple of game like peripherals.
I mean, it was $40, so I don't think it was that crazy.
That's hold on. I could have
It's
sneezed.
about what I paid for mine, but I got mine refurbished. I've got an AT2020 USB.
Hold on, let me double check the prices. So HyperX Comcast. Okay, and that's what mic did you say you had? Razer.
Serene Mini.
It sounds pretty good for $40. I don't.
It
I
sounds
mean, it's better than my
good.
last two, so. Yeah, I had to get a new one because the last one was too inconsistent, and the one before that was
Is
pretty
it the
shitty.
version 3?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh. Oh, it's half the price of mine.
You got ripped off, Leo.
There you go.
Well, no.
How the turntables.
Well,
How the
I would.
turntables.
Okay, comparing quality though.
I mean, it's hard to tell over Discord.
Oh yeah, true.
It compresses it and everything.
It's the reason I call Razer the Apple of peripherals is because if you're gonna buy a keyboard, for example, a Razer keyboard with one extra USB port on it will cost you an arm and a leg, but any other brand keyboard will have like 4 extra USBs, wrist rest, like you get a full size keyboard, and it might even be hot swappable for the same price. Same with mice.
Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily, for the most part, as far as I understand it, anything wrong with Razer products necessarily. You just kind of are paying for the brand name and paying
Yeah,
for you're paying kind of the luxury tax a little bit, just like with
yeah.
Apple, like you said.
Oh yeah, for the description, thank you. I'll have to quickly mend that.
Yeah, I got a busy day today. I gotta do this stream, then I gotta go to the gym, then I gotta watch a movie for my stream, and then I gotta do family stuff. So it's gonna be a long day.
Hold on. Yes, I got your name right first try.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Save. Yep, the description should be. Oh, fuck, I forgot to add it to the playlist. Whoops. There we go. And I think we're ready to get into the main topic.
Sweet.
Where would you like us to start with the why in the why is this garbage is being made in the first place, or
That's the main question.
well, there's multiple points to start
But
from.
isn't the main reason always money, right?
It's
He's not wrong.
I mean,
it's not wrong. It's
If
more.
you want to push a certain narrative for your ideological goals, sure, that could be a secondary goal, but the primary goal is always to make money.
I kind of have a different take on that, which we can get to in whenever. But I watched a little behind the scenes clip with the director, who is the guy that's directing this new movie is the same guy that originally adapted and did the movie back in 2010 for the animated one.
Yep.
That's cool.
And yeah, and he's got a really good take on it. He seems super genuine and sincere, like he actually cares about this story, cares about the characters, and just kind of wants to revisit it and breathe new life into it. That's what he was talking about in the thing. And I tend to.
We're talking about from a creative level. I thought we were talking about from like why is the project getting greenlit kind of thing.
Yeah, that was kind of like a
Because
main
like
idea.
creatives always, or at least should always, just want to tell a good story, a meaningful story, right? But like from a business end, right, it's gonna be primarily for money, secondarily for like good PR, whatever that means.
For Zoro's point though, I wouldn't take. I think Dean DeBlois is literally gun to the back of his head and his family locked in a basement somewhere by Universal.
This is a
Because
hell of a hypothetical.
there's like an interview slash podcast back in 2019 where he basically said that live action remakes are soulless and uncreative ripoffs.
Oof.
I mean,
And
people can change their minds. I mean, it's happened before with a lot of great media
True.
where they said they'll never do something and then they go ahead and do it anyway and turns out really good. So I don't think that in isolation is a bad sign, but if there's other stuff surrounding it, the writing could be on the walls for this
I
movie.
will agree. However, we have seen this before with Mark Hamill.
Mm.
However,
Well,
Universal like did their homework, and back when the first How to Train Your Dragon movie was released, there was an interview with Dean DeBlois, which you cannot find anymore, on the red carpet. And back then, CGI or animation was very like risky because of the quality of fidelity. And they asked him, why didn't you do the movie in live action? And he said, and I still remember this word for word, because it inspired me with
bar for bar.
word for word, because it inspired me into the animation realm. This story wouldn't have worked in live action.
well, do you think that might be because of the technological stuff? Like, I mean, technology is you can make more realistic dragons
True.
now.
However, I think we can all agree, even with the best CGI artists, and let's be honest, I'm pretty sure they got the best CGI artists for this. It doesn't look good.
Well, I
Well,
mean, maybe I haven't seen the trailer, but House of the Dragons look fucking phenomenal. So, I mean, it can be done.
Yeah. So what Leo's kind of referencing, they didn't make the dragons in the live action really look like real dragons. They basically
Oh,
took the 3D models from the original movie and kind of like made them in
imported
4K.
them,
Yeah.
but the importing
I probably
process had
should
like a
watch the
glitch,
trailer
and the game.
before coming on here.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah.
dragging a file from Photoshop to Premiere Pro, and while the transfer was happening, the transfer crashed, your PC exploded, and you redid the process.
All right, I'm watching the trailer now. Let's see how these things look.
Yeah, watch the trailer. And I think the other thing too, beyond just the CGI looking bad, the like one of my favorite parts of those movies is the contrast that you get between scrawny little Hiccup and the big giant muscular, stoic and all the other Vikings. And like
It
in the live
was
action, Gerard Butler, like he's cool,
stylized.
he's Gerard Butler. He is not anywhere near as big as Stoic was in the
Why
movie.
didn't they give him a fat Thor suit?
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, they
done
could have just
something.
gave him a muscle suit or a fat Thor suit. Like the whole point of Stoic the Vast, like if you know the franchise, you'd know damn well that Stoic the Vast got his name because of his weight, because they were gonna
Yeah.
call him Stoic the Vindictive.
Yeah, but he's a big chunky boy, and as a fellow chunky boy, I can relate. But Gerard
They
Butler,
wanted to
like,
avoid
he's
making fat
shredded.
jokes.
Oh come on! Oh well,
Okay,
we
so
can-
I just
Leo
watched the
said we can
trailer.
say whatever.
I don't think it was as bad as you're making it out to be, but it's definitely not.
Well,
as
you
good
gotta
as it
think
can
like
be.
okay,
that, right? They're
okay, okay.
sensitive snowflakes. You
Iron,
gotta think
hold on,
like
hold
that.
on, hold on. So Iron, do me a favor. On YouTube, look up
Yeah.
um Toothless and Cops commercial. There's a commercial from the Hidden World where a bunch of cops in like Christmas like uh theme style fucking background. Basically Toothless plays like the CGI Toothless we see in the movies, plays with like a ball of light, and real life cops are reacting to it. That
I'm
somehow
watching.
looks much better than what we got.
I think it looks like more like the you ever see Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
It seems more like in that realm where it's like the the separation between animated and real is very distinguished. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think we should have more movies like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I think sometimes trying to make it look like it's all one world and you fail actually takes you out of the experience more than just doing like embracing the contrast, like how Who Framed Roger Rabbit or the old Looney Tunes movies did.
Yeah. Like, unironically, as weird as Space Jam is, it didn't take you out as much when they came to the real world, because that's how you would expect like a real
Mhm.
Bugs Bunny to look.
Right.
Yeah,
The
I think the first Space Jam is a great,
It's a fun
enjoyable film.
movie.
Yeah, I was
It
gonna say, it's
has
not
a
a good
lot of
movie. It's a
fucking
very
issues.
fun movie. Very
Yeah,
fun movie.
I think that's part of the issue with this new movie is like you have these very cartoonish dragons who have the proportions of cartoon characters, essentially like cartoon dragons,
Mhm.
thrown into this real world where the people in the world look like normal people. So like
I
there's that
wouldn't say
kind of
they're cartoonish
disconnect there.
dragons. The thing is,
Well,
they look as cool dragons. Their designs are pretty unique. I will agree. They don't look like the generic dragons you would see in a fantasy book. However,
right.
like the
Well,
facial
what do you mean
expressions
by
of
generic?
Toothless,
Like I, I don't know what necessarily what a generic dragon means. You know what I mean? Like, is it just like
Like I
it's
think
spiky,
the terrible
edgy.
terror, the terrible terror is kind of like your classic generic dragon in this universe.
For example, Smog from
yeah, I
Lord
was
of the
gonna
Rings.
say
Yeah,
Smog,
yeah.
like your go-to of what a generic dragon looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Doesn't he also
Smog.
come with the
Like, he
noodle?
has
Like,
giant
the noodle
horns.
like neck, right? Doesn't he have a really long neck, Smog?
Yeah,
Yeah, long neck, big jaws,
kind of
lots
like
of
the
teeth,
monstrous
wings.
nightmare, but on all fours instead of like the back legs and the wings.
Yeah,
I mean,
Monstrous
I'm
Nightmare
not
is what I
saying
was thinking,
there's
not
like
Terrible
there's
Terror.
no like dragon that would come to mind. I'm just saying I don't when I picture a generic dragon, I kind of think of like the Wales flag. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Yeah.
really think of like a specific character.
Well,
That's kind of what we were talking about, like just like dragon clip art, like whatever. would
literally
come
look
with
up
that
dragon and you will get the most generic style. Like, it's in 4 legs, has a pair of wings, a decently long neck,
Mhm.
and the head has horns, and it's all spiky and reptile-y. Like, there's no personality towards it besides it looks cool, compared to the dragons we have in How to Train Your Dragon, which
very unique.
each kind of have a personality of their own in the design alone. Not to mention the facial expressions, the way they interact. They are unique. I will agree.
Yeah.
The my problem with the trailer is there are portions where it looks good. But there are also portions where Toothless moves like a animatronic, and his face has like no life in it.
Yeah, it's kind of got that like dead eye CGI that the Lion
It
King.
it literally looks like CGI smudge. Like, I cannot describe it any better than that.
Lilo and Stitch kind of has the same look as well, from what I've seen. The Lilo and Stitch live action movie.
I
came out.
have
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I haven't touched that with a 10-foot pole. I've like
The only one.
Refuse to
Yeah, go
The
acknowledge
10-foot
that.
surfboard.
it's just not to mention, they're like, based from the trailer. If you compare the shots in the trailer with the shots from the original movie, you can tell they're veering off from what they actually did.
I think the only one of these like CGI remake movies I think that had animals in it that worked for me was The Jungle Book. Did you guys see that one?
Which one? There's 2 of them.
I saw that one.
The
I didn't
Disney
see it.
one.
The
I
Di-
think
I thought Mowgli was
I
the
think it-
better one.
well, I didn't see that one. I'm not Disney. I'm just saying, at least for me, I actually enjoyed the Disney one. I thought I think having the realistic animals with a human works pretty well. Whereas like the Lion King, when it was all animals, is just like, what are we doing here? At
Yeah.
least you can do the contrast between Mowgli and the animals. It's kind of more like through Mowgli's POV, and like that's why the animals are kind of, you know what I mean? Like I feel like
Yeah.
that makes a big difference when you have a human presence in the film. And the CGI looked better in that movie than it did in this trailer so far.
Uh, I guess this kind of brings us back to like the origin of this. Like, why the fuck did you do it? Because,
Money.
well, no. The thing is, yes, they did it for money. However, the franchise ended with movie 3. So Universal acquired the DreamWorks, and How to Train Your Dragon 3 was like their first like release from the DreamWorks before. And of course, because How to Train Your Dragon 3 made a fuck ton of money and it was beloved by most of the fans, not all of them, there's still people that say the Hidden World is bad. It has issues, but most of the issues that people complain about are so like wrong, at least from what I've encountered. They're
Would
complaining
you?
that
I
like
want the big white dragon.
well, that is one of my issues, but the main complaint is that uh, Hiccup and Toothless, like the humans and the dragons, split apart. And I'm there like, but the story was led to that point, like, pretty well. It wasn't just like a spur of the moment decision.
I'm sorry. What are you trying to argue?
Like,
Yeah,
I'm
but
trying to argue that, well, well, I kind of went off on a tangent about the criticism of how the hidden world, like how some of it is unfair. But basically, Universal acquired the hidden world, acquired DreamWorks. They released the hidden world because that was a project that was almost done. Might as well finish it. It was the end of the franchise. Oh well, it made a lot of money. The fans were pretty pleased overall. So yeah, they wanted to revive that. And then they made the Nine Realms, which was unfortunately canon.
Awful.
It's basically a TV show, kind of like the Race to the Edge, where they literally took the last movie and contradicted everything.
is this like a show?
Yes. So the chronological way to watch the entire franchise is the first movie, then the Christmas special called The Gift of the Night Fury, then you watch the Rise of Berk slash Defenders of Berk TV show that was on Cartoon Network. Then you watch Race to the Edge, then movie 2, movie 3, and Homecoming, which is the Christmas special of movie 3. And that's the original story. Then came the Nine Realms, which is another TV show with the same rating as Race to the Edge, but the quality took a nosedive faster than Toothless in the first movie.
Hmm.
So yeah, it basically ruined everything. Um, you,
Soiled it.
oh, it was horrible. Like it was the last Jedi of the How to Train Your Dragon franchise.
That's a great way to phrase it.
It was literally the most surgical way to destroy everything. Remember the giant hole in the ocean where the hidden world is? Never mind, it's a crater
Yeah.
in the middle of a fucking forest.
That is crazy.
Remember how the humans promised to leave the dragons alone and only Hiccup and his like family would be the ones visiting? Never mind, the Vikings moved back into the hidden world. Um remember
But
how
the-
the Book of Dragons is like thousands of years old by now? Oh yeah, it takes place in current
Yeah.
time. Yeah, that shit fucking survived somehow. Um the Hiccup's peg leg. They find it in the hidden world, the new fuckers. It gets literally thrown into the mouth of a dragon, and the dragon like chews on it once, breaks it, and then spits it out as the theme song of the franchise plays.
What the heck?
Oh, you don't know about the Nine Realms?
No,
I think
I've-
recite everything you just said.
I'm sorry. I've seen the first one multiple times. I've seen the second one maybe once or twice. I haven't seen the third one or any of the supplemental stuff.
Isn't the second one just the plot of Aquaman, or rather, Aquaman is just the plot of the second How to Train Your Dragon movie?
What?
I
Isn't
have
that the
no
one where
idea.
the mom, they find the mom in the second one?
Well, yeah, they find the mom in the second one, but I don't see the relation with Aquaman.
I saw like a video or like an article breaking it down one time. There was like an insane amount of coincidences between Aquaman, the first one, and the second How to Train Your Dragon movie.
Which one
Like
came out
this,
first?
like the
Well,
second How to Train Your Dragon movie. So Aquaman ripped it off.
you
Like the
gotta.
whole like find your mom, like you thought the mom was dead, but she was like hidden like in like a water behind a waterfall kind of thing, like living in some mystical thing, and then like bringing the mom back is like key to solving the crisis, and then like
Mm.
yeah, that's like what I remember off the top of my head. There's a couple other coincidences I think as well.
The thing is, if you simplify certain stories to a degree, you can have Black Panther be like almost identical to the Lion King.
Well, yeah, I get that, but I'm saying it's like literally the mom was a queen or like chief mistress,
I'm
whatever
trying
the
to
title would
forget
be. Like,
Aquaman because it's a pretty shitty fucking movie.
what was the mom's title? Like the dad was the chief, right? What would her like title be?
So yeah, Stoic's the chief, and the mom was the chiefess, and
Okay, chiefess. So yeah, so the chiefess or queen is thought to be dead, but and then it's found out that they're actually like in a
alive.
mystical land hidden behind a waterfall where they've been living like a peaceful life, and then by bringing them back into the fold, they're able to resolve a conflict. Not at first though. Like it's like a very like kind of beat for beat
Like
similar like story.
broad
The
strokes.
the
Yeah.
thing with the mother is that um she was like Hiccup. She went from a warrior Viking to noticing that the dragons don't really mean harm. It's because of the war that they're being attacked. That's why the like this whole bloodshed was going on, and she tried to stop the Vikings from killing more dragons. And of course, during one of the attacks, one of the dragons kidnaps her, and of course they would think she was dead because at the time the Vikings thought the dragons were beasts, not like intelligent creatures that wouldn't harm you if you don't harm them. So that's why the mother was presumed dead.
But yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I was just drawing a comparison, not
Oh yeah.
criticizing.
Uh, I just wouldn't. I would never fucking like tarnish the How to Train a Dragon 2 by comparing it to fucking Aqua Lad.
Well, it's not really tarnishing How to Train Your Dragon 2 if it did it first, right? Like it's on
It's
Aquaman
still
for
hard
being
tarnishing it by
uninspired.
comparing these two movies. It's
Okay, how like for when people compare The Force Awakens to A New Hope, that doesn't damage A New Hope just because they're similar movies. Just it means Force Awakens was uninspired.
it does tarnish a New Hope though. Like,
How?
well,
Came
basically
later.
this is how A New Hope would have ended up as if it was directed by a moron.
But
Yeah,
my
it's
point is, right,
great
I
value.
don't think sequels and retcons necessarily damage the original product. Know what I
It
mean?
does
Like
harm
it's like
it
you
though
can
to
still
an extent.
I agree with that statement.
like it's like sure, it's only if you really care about canon, right? Because like you can just take what you want out of things, right? Especially with like big sprawling franchises, there's just going to be so like take comics for example. There's going to be such a mix of good and bad. Or if you start just taking everything at face value, you're not going to enjoy any story, because there's always gonna be like, well, remember the one time that they mind raped Batman? Like, you don't want to remember that, so you just move on and forget about it.
Yeah. But the
So
difference,
that's how I look at it.
yeah, fair enough. It's kind of like look at this shiny diamond and look at this fake diamond. That's mimicking
Lab
the
grown diamond.
yeah. It's kind
I
of
want
like
the slave labor diamond.
The blood diamond.
no. Okay, to put it in a different
You ever
perspective,
watch Blood Diamonds? That's
you
pretty
you
cool.
have an original Ferrari, and then you have one of those kit car Ferraris. It
Yeah, but
still
Hot
kind
Wheels-
of
I don't think it-
damages.
I don't think I think a good comparison would be like you have like my wife is big into purses. You have like designer purses, right? And then you have the knockoffs, and it's
Yeah, the
like
guy in New York City
Yeah.
selling it on the street like for
Right.
$5.
so you have like somebody walking around with a knockoff. They go, oh, is that the real thing? And they say yes, but it's like it basically makes the original one less rare
Valuable.
if people accept both of them equally, right?
Yeah,
I think
that's why
that
you
might be
don't.
what Leo's trying to get at.
yeah, because
But your analogy just proved my point. No one accepts the knockoffs as the real thing. Everyone rejects it. So that's why everyone rejects these shitty
Well-
products as being canon.
They only reject it if they find out. Like if you just pass and glance somebody walking by with a Gucci, but it says Gooey.
The
but
thing
like,
is,
from a
I've seen
distance,
both.
if you're not paying too close attention, you don't
See,
notice.
Now we're talking about smell tests, though, right? Like Force Awakens did pass the smell test, but then
Well,
after like
It
time
didn't pass the
passed,
smell
it
test
did not
as long
age
as
well.
you have a critical
Well, like-
mind. When I first
what I'm
watched The
saying.
Force Awakens,
Yeah.
I was like, this is just a shittier A New Hope.
I mean, I remember back in the day, everyone was excited about
Most
Force
people,
Awakens.
yeah,
And
most
that's
people
fair, but
came away from that movie.
Let's
positive.
not forget, most
what I'm
people are
saying,
also
it's like-
stupid.
No, but I mean, even like most of the people who like shit talking now were fond of it when it first came out. It took time for that movie to sink in that it was bad. It was pretty much The Last Jedi being a shitty sequel is what like, oh wait, the first one wasn't that good either.
That's
Like,
true, but it doesn't take away
almost
from the.
nobody disliked Force Awakens when it first came out. Almost nobody. I didn't know anyone.
The movie was the movie's quality didn't change, but your perception of it did, because you went into it after a 10-year hiatus on Star Wars movies. You go in there with so much goodwill, right? You go in there
Yeah,
with
you kind of have
the
false
big benefit
hope.
of the doubt. You go, okay, maybe this one's not so great, but you're setting stuff up. The next movie's gonna do great, and it might recontextualize, backfill, whatever. And then the next one comes out and it's garbage, and you're like, okay, so all that setup actually doesn't make any sense, and it actually makes that movie worse in retrospect.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I mean the whole promise of Force Awakens, other than a return to normalcy within Star Wars, whatever that means, was that that it was a bunch of mystery boxes that got you all excited, and then when each mystery box was either nothing or shit, everyone got disappointed, rightfully so.
But that's the fault of The Last Jedi, not The Force Awakens. Like, come on.
No, but the Last Jedi being a shitty sequel doesn't retroactively make the Force Awakens like a worse movie necessarily, right? Like, let's say the Last Jedi
It
was
kinda
really
does,
good and the third one was
because
really good.
it does
The Force
affect the-
Awakens still would have been a subpar setup. It just would have had good sequels to carry it and like kind of hide behind. Know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it would have had to. The other ones would have had to do the work to go back and fix it retroactively, which doesn't make the movie better, but it makes the story overall better, right?
Exactly. So that's like we're talking about individual art pieces of art versus an overarching story, right? So like that's why it's two different discussions, right? Like The Force Awakens doesn't damage A New Hope. A New Hope is exactly the same regardless of Force Awakens. However, it damages the overall mythos of Star Wars, which is not good.
But the thing is,
Yeah,
it
and that
does
might be what you were talking
retroactively damages the Force Awakens, because Snoke is nobody. Rey's parents are no, as the Last Jedi is concerned. Rey is nobody. Luke is
They
a
did a double
coward.
recontextualization of that. That was so funny.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. The mystery boxes being answered in such a retarded way does damage the mystery boxes overall.
It damages it damages the outcome of the movie, like the like Mandro was saying, like the overall narrative.
Yeah.
But if you it doesn't like it doesn't harm A New Hope, right? The Last Jedi being
Exactly, yeah.
bad doesn't hurt A New Hope.
Oh yeah,
It
no, no,
hurts
no.
the
It
story
damages The
overall.
Force Awakens.
Yeah,
But
it's like it's basically if you have a really good setup, right, and a bad payoff, the payoff doesn't necessarily hurt the setup. You did all the work for the setup, you just failed the payoff. Whereas on the flip side of that, if you have a really bad setup but a really good payoff, right? Like the
can
good
kinda
payoff
forgive.
doesn't necessarily make the setup better. No, I mean you can have half a equation be good.
actually, hold
Obviously, you
on.
want the
We
whole
have
thing to
the
be good. It's more
perfect.
satisfying that way.
We have the perfect on-topic comparison. Does the live-action How to Train Your Dragon damage the first movie? I would
Well, this is
argue
not
it
the
kind
same
of does
story though.
because
This
it
is an
damages the
adaptation,
franchise.
though, right? Well, now you're getting into a meta sense, right? There's like Star Wars is not a singular narrative. There's like there used to be the EU, right, which it was semi-canon to not canon most of the time. Whereas now with this, right, this is a different story. I mean, this is not a sequel. This is an adaptation, so it's a completely different rule
I
set.
wouldn't.
All you're damaging is the
It's not an
brand.
adaptation. That's the thing. I don't consider it an adaptation because an adaptation requires a change in medium. They're both
Well,
movies.
it's a change from animation to live action.
Yeah,
I
but
agree that
it,
it would be considered an adaptation because it's not an adaptation of the books, right? Because that was the first movie. If this was adapting the books, it would be completely different. It's an adaptation slash remake of the movie. I think it kind of
it's a
lives in both
remake
worlds.
considering that the dragons are still animated. It's called CGI instead of animation.
But the thing is, though, right? It's a different narrative, right? I mean, like any reboot, whether it's an adaptation or just a complete, just like rehash, right? Like that, for example, the James Bond movies are all just rehashes, right? Like they're just like told what Golden Eye was that? I'm not a big James Bond guy. What's the one they did twice? They did a movie twice. You know which one it was?
I don't,
Uh,
not a James Bond fan at all,
Was
really.
it Goldfinger? Is that Gold? Is that the name of the movie?
Possibly. I'm not sure.
Thunderball?
I don't know
Oh,
enough about
anyway, that
James
was a bad.
Bond.
I thought one of you guys would know, so that's why I brought it up. Anyway, but they
Fair
made
enough.
the movie twice with two different James Bond actors, right? Obviously, it's different narrative because you can't have two different people be James Bond. Like it's so that's how I view this, right? It's like two different people playing Hiccup. It's two different stories. They're just gonna be
It's the
parallel
same
stories.
story. No, no, no. It's the same story. It's just made in live action. It's a remake, full and through.
Yeah, it's a direct remake, like probably line for line, shot for
They're,
shot of
they're
the first
trying
How
to
to Train
do
Your
it
Dragon.
shot for shot, but if you compare the shots we've seen in the trailer with the shots from the original movie looked and felt much better overall than what we got. For
Yeah,
example,
but
in when Hiccup tries to stab attempts to stab Toothless, and he's like, I'm a Viking, I'm a Viking. Like the way he does it in the animation, you actually feel what he's going through compared to the live action where the actor doesn't portray the inner struggle as much. It's more like he's screaming the same thing terrified.
oh, this is a good segue. Do you guys know who Bradley G is?
No.
Mm-mm.
He's in our server, but he has a video talking about this exact topic, talking about why the Disney remakes aren't as good as the originals, and he breaks it down from like how the visual storytelling of the animated medium actually conveys more meaning than the live action ones did. I just watched it last night, or 2 nights ago. It was
Uh,
a really good video. I recommend checking it out. I think
awesome.
you would
If you
agree with a
can
lot of
put
the
the
points he
link
made.
If you can put the
That's
link in the chat, I'll
Yeah,
give it a watch because it sounds very
yeah, well.
interesting. But
Oh, it's great, and it blew up too, which is nice. I think I got like 200,000 views. So
to give another example on why I call this a remake, would you consider the Lion King live action, quote unquote live action? Would you consider it a remake or an adaptation?
hmm, yeah,
That one I can.
I guess I could see your point, right? I could see it going either or. I'm not a huge semantical guy, in certain terms, right? I think a lot of times a remake or an adaptation can be either or. So
Well,
I'm
So
totally okay
remake.
with you.
I do have a distinction there.
Yeah, there
And
is
it
a
might be
pretty
a
big
distinction without a
distinction.
difference. But
Mhm.
what I see is The Lion King is not a live action movie. It is an animated movie.
Yeah, through and through.
And it's remaking an animated movie story. So in my mind, that is a remake. This one is
A mix of
it is
both.
technically a remake, but it's also an adaptation because they're translating things from one medium, which is
The-
animated, to live action,
The
where
thing is,
they have to like actually build sets and stuff like that. It is, even though the dragons are still animated, right? There is still a lot that has to be adapted rather than just remade.
should
I can see where you get the term difference.
my big question
Um,
is, should
yeah,
we
I
call
can agree with that assessment.
should we call live action like you have an animated story and then you turn it into live action? Should we call that even a adaptation in any way? Because it's the same story, it's just instead of being an animation, it's live action. If it's gonna be the same story, it's a remake. Yeah, you chose a different way to remake it, but it's kind of like going from 2D to 3D animation. Would that be an
Well, all right,
adaptation?
well, now I got a question for you. Like, if you a lot of animes are direct one-to-one, parallel to the manga. So and people call animes adaptation, but by your definition, it would just be a remake, right?
Well, no, it's an adaptation because it's a different medium. Going from
But
movie
but
to
wouldn't going from
movie, it's same medium.
wouldn't going from animation to live action be transferring mediums? I would say so.
It's the same thing. They're both movies at the end of the day. It's just instead of doing
But the
it
way
in
you go
an
about making
animation,
the
you
movie is
chose
completely
to.
different. Like, for example, if you animated Game of Thrones, that would look so different than if you did it live action with CGI.
I can
So, like,
can I interject?
Yeah, go
yeah,
on.
go ahead.
You mentioned like the anime and like the mangas and the converting it to like animes, and the one anime that I could think of that did it really well was probably the live action One Piece. So
Oh, that
I watched
yeah.
I watched the live action One Piece first, right, which was probably my first mistake. But I watched it and I honestly really, really enjoyed it to the point where I decided to watch the originals and just kind of watching that story beat like play out, how they like changed like some of the elements to make things more cohesive. There's more flow because there's a lot of moments that kind of drag into like I'm on like episode 140 right now, but I'm just like watching. I'm watching the show and I'm like, holy crap, I can see these beat for beats. And now I'm rewatching the live action One Piece with a friend, and I'm able to catch on all the little details of all the things they included in future episodes. I'm like, holy crap, it's these guys. Like, oh, this makes so much more sense now. So kind of seeing this adapted in a live action format works because it's not a one-to-one remake. It takes elements that people love and care about. They treat the source material with actual respect, and everything just kind of flows, which is why I don't like what the How to Train Your Dragon live action movie is doing.
Or
They're just
Lion
doing a
King or
one-to-one.
Mermaid.
They're claiming it to be a live action remake, and they're claiming it to be one-to-one. But they're already changing elements like Astrid being black. So
And
that's like
small
already a
details
spit
in the
face.
animation too. Like in the original, for example, in the original Forbidden Friendship scene where Toothless leans into Hiccup's hand. In the animated version, yes, it was a glitch. However, Toothless kind of like moves forwards, jolts back, and then moves forward and to lean into the hand. That was a glitch. However, it made sense for Toothless to be like that because it was hesitation.
He's
Like
hesitant.
it was it was a new thing for both a dragon and a human to be friendly instead of fighting each other. It makes sense that he was a bit afraid, but at the end of the day, Hiccup did nothing to hurt him, besides shooting him down. But after that, like they haven't really fought.
He was able to understand that, oh, he cut me free. He's not a threat.
Yeah, and he gave me a fish. He stayed with me. He didn't harm me. He touched my tail. That's about it. But overall, it showed that yes, Toothless was hesitant, but he was willing to give him a chance. But in the trailer for the new one, which I would argue it's a stupid fucking decision to put this scene in the trailer, Toothless just leans in.
Yeah.
It's the and if you're gonna remake it one to one, because that's what it is, it's a remake. You're taking the same story beat for beat, almost scene for
bar for
scene.
bar.
Yeah. But it's just with real people. Like, imagine they were all CGI. Like, Hiccup would be CGI, Stoic would be CGI, but it would be realistic CGI instead of like the artistic
More
and
cartoony.
yeah. Because let's be honest, they're all stylized in the original animation. Like, look at fish legs. No fucking human on planet Earth would look like fish legs.
Unless you're unless you're old school Nikocado.
Unless you're Boogie.
Yeah, Boogie. Yeah. But yeah, Boogie can't move like fish legs. Fish legs can flip around, and
Yeah,
he's pretty athletic for a chunky fella.
Boogie would need to be on wires, like titanium wires that holds up fucking bridges.
Yeah. Here's a question I have for you fellas.
Yep.
And this is kind of me playing devil's advocate. I get a bit for the movie, I guess, but from what I've seen of the trailer and everything like that, the behind the scenes, I had this thought: what if everything that we see here, all the humans in costumes, all that stuff, what if instead of being on a movie, it was on a stage, and this was like a play or like a musical?
They actually
my
did that.
God,
It was
that reminds me.
yeah.
of
There
the,
was actually a
actual-
thing like that with real like it was an animatronic.
Animatronics.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
It was
let me tell
basically
you my
like a
experience. Let me
circus.
tell you my experience with it. So I think I was like super young when it first came out, but I was old enough to watch it. And the few scenes that I remember was like Hiccup being like chased by like a dragon, and he would like run on the. They had like wall running, like they had like the screen projecting of like the Burke Isle and whatnot, and he was like running on the screen. Like then like the underwater scene where he's like swimming to save Toothless, and then also Toothless broke down mid performance.
Oh,
So they're like,
yeah.
Toothless is having some issues. We'll get to him in a minute.
Which
Yeah.
But
actually
it was
that
such
reminds
a good
me.
experience, man.
That reminds me of another point. How the fuck did they manage to get more accurate costumes and actors for the animatronics show that was, let's be honest, on a very fucking small budget? They look
Yeah.
far better than the costumes and the actors that we have now.
100%.
Uh-huh.
But what I'm saying is like if you kind of recontextual, again, this is me playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying this
I
movie
understand.
should exist. But if you kind of take it and you go, okay, what if there was a stage production instead of this hyper realistic animated Toothless? It was a cool animatronic one, like being puppeteered and everything like that. You had a guy playing Toothless, or not Toothless, Hiccup. You got Gerard Butler to play, Stoic in the show. You cast all the other actors like in Broadway and stuff like that. You can cast, like nobody really cares if a character is played by a different race. Like race swapping, that's just a normal thing to do in Broadway shows. And plays and stuff, like Hermione's black in the Harry Potter plays. Like nobody really cares because it's just a stage adaptation. You kind of go with whoever is the best fit for the role.
I guess.
Who can do that?
That's fair.
I'll give
so
it
if
a pass.
If you kind of, if I were to steel man and play devil advocate for this movie, are you okay, buddy? Okay, sorry, my kid just fell off a chair.
No worries.
Okay.
Is he good?
If you, oh, hey, stop.
Is he good?
Yeah, he's good. He stepped on a Lego and it hurt.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. But kind of steel manning
He's
this.
experiencing it.
Yes, he's becoming a man. If I was kind of steel manning it, and if we were to look at this as if like they're basically filming a play, I think you can kind of go, okay, I kind of think what they're doing is kind of cool. They're getting like a representation of the movie, but in live action. They've built all the sets. I think there is something there that could be cool, but the fact that they chose to do it as a movie instead of in that cool like live environment, everybody's kind of doing it on the fly, maybe a live orchestra, like all those things that make live shows cool. You take away those elements to make it a movie, and now it's just like very flat and bland. just watching it as a movie. That's kind of how I feel. I don't know if you guys are big musical people, but like the Disney Plus version of Hamilton, where they filmed the whole performance on the stage. It's like it's cool, but they could have done multiple takes. Like there's no audience there to react to it. It kind of takes the life out of the show. That's kind of how I feel about this movie. It's like in a different format. Like if this was a stage show, I think this whole concept would be super cool. But I think that they chose the wrong way to basically produce it, if that makes sense.
You wanted it to be a Broadway musical?
Not necessarily a musical. I'm just saying like the idea of Gerard Butler in the Stoic costume. That's pretty cool. The idea of, you know, having a person interacting with Toothless, like real person, like a real version of Toothless. That's pretty cool. That's not what this movie is because it's CGI and, you know, all that stuff. I'm just like to steelman the whole idea of it a little bit.
Like
I
Jurassic
think they're
Park then, like with having like animatronic dragons.
Yeah, like I think there's a way that they could have done this, whether in a different medium or just in a different way, that could have been cool. And I feel like they missed the mark, and that's part of the reason why people are so mad about it. Is that like they kind of chose the worst option.
But
if you were
that's
gonna,
the
do you
thing. A lot
think,
of people actually approve of this. Like if
well,
you
also,
well, those people are
Go on.
wrong.
yeah.
I
Like,
was gonna say,
yep.
okay, go.
Okay. I was just gonna say that if you look up live, like How to Train Your Dragon live action, like you would get reactions from a lot of fucking like YouTubers and critics and whatnot, and all of them are just praising this shit. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, I think that's consumer mindset type of people.
Mhm.
And like if they're excited for it, you know, cool. Like I guess that's the type of people this movie's being made for. But you know, for me, it's like
Just shut up and consume product, and then be excited for next
excited
product.
for next product. Yeah,
That's a great meme.
yeah.
Right?
But it's like you know, for people like us, we can go, oh, there's so much wasted potential here for what they could have done.
I don't think there's any potential
They're not
here
like us.
at all. Like the original movie is right there. Just they could have literally remastered the first fucking movie.
Oh, that's something that I wanted to talk about. We remaster games
That's
all
literally
the
what
time.
I said.
How have we not started just remastering
Yeah, that's
animated
literally what I
movies?
said in my video.
Like, could you imagine a remastered Toy Story 1? Like, that would be incredible. Like, same voice actors, you know, maybe
Yeah,
redo the
with, like,
music,
updated graphics.
like
Oh,
updated
yeah.
graphics.
No,
That
that
would be
reminds me.
I think some of the charm is the dated visuals. I don't know.
Well,
That's maybe-
no. If there were the thing is, in this scenario, there will be a new How to Train Your Dragon movie that's a remake of the first. Would you rather have this or just a remastered, better graphics version of the first movie?
I would rather a remastered.
Yeah,
think
I
I'd
would
rather
rather have a
remaster.
better graphics version of it than this pile of shit.
Yeah, because basically, if they just like did a 4K remaster, but it's like the same animation, it's the same movements, it's the same facial expressions. They just kind of update it, make it a little bit cleaner,
More
you know,
detailed. Yeah.
more detailed. Yeah, not removing any of the character of it. Like I get what Iron's saying about how like, you know, some of the charm of the movies is like the kind of jankiness of, you know, the shadows not looking, you know, the polygons, you know, it's kind of fun to watch. You know, that's, you know, part of the reason people still play older games is because of that factor. But I think between spending, you know, what, $250 million doing a live action version or spending $150 million doing a remaster, I take the remaster every time.
The problem is How to Train Your Dragon 1 to this day holds with quality. Like the animation quality is off the fucking charts.
I mean,
I can
pretty much
vouch.
any movie past.
I literally
2000s,
rewatched the video. I literally
did it
rewatched
right.
the entire trilogy.
I
Like,
rewatched
I
it
feel
like
you can really only do that with 90s movies because most of the 2000s movies do look good.
Like,
I mean,
to this
Uh,
day, whenever I watch the first movie, I can still like see like the small details in like Hiccup's beard has the fuzzy hair. I can see it clearly to this day, and it's in 2010. I can see the scar on his chin, like the fur of his tunic looks amazing to this day. Like in general, they went above and beyond with the animation, and it still fucking holds. I don't see how they could remaster it any better besides making it like the body cam game. Like they used Unreal Engine to turn it into something like a remaster worthy.
Yeah, I mean, I can see both sides of it, but one of the other things that I kind of was getting at with the whole they kind of chose the worst option is they could have told a different story. Hold on, buddy. They could have told
Yep.
a completely different
Oh,
story
yeah.
with these same characters instead of doing
No.
a shot-for-shot remake. Like
I
tell a
disagree.
story in between 1 and 2. Like do How to Train Your Dragon 1.5 or you know
No,
2.5.
I
Like,
fully disagree. The thing is, the moment I saw the actress pick for Astrid, at that point I was like, bro, why didn't you just make a different part of the world in the How to Train Your Dragon?
yeah,
Like
mean,
that
you
would have
didn't
been
even
that would have been a better idea as well.
like
I didn't even know she was black when I first saw her. Like that's like
Because the
first piece of
character won't
info
gain
I-
enough popularity. Duh.
Uh, but yeah, when we had this this discussion on the server, Iron, we basically like came to the conclusion of like it's far better to just make a new character instead of changing one besides its name.
Yeah, and I do agree with that. But after I saw the actress, I didn't even realize she was black. I don't know if that's racist to me, but like she was incredibly light skinned, at least in the costume. So I don't know. I
She's
feel like
mixed
it could
apparently.
pass. What?
She's mixed
What?
apparently, kind of like me.
Yeah, I mean, I figured. I mean, that's usually how the genetics work. But like I said, it's like, I mean, I have friends like that, right? Who are like half Indian, half white, and like like you
Right.
can kind of tell they're both, but it's like, no, I mean, it's like they kind of like, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the lighting can change it from now they look white, now they look Indian.
But anyway, getting off, this is like a whole tangent. But my
Yeah.
point is that like usually, I agree that like if you're going to introduce a character that stands out, you should probably have a reason why in those kind of settings anyway, right? Like in a modern day story, you have people from all over the world in all parts of the world, right? It's not immersion breaking at all. And if you're making a brand new fantasy, you can just have that world have always been that way, right? But like when you're doing an existing fantasy or an existing part of history, like mythology or historical fiction, usually it does kind of stand out if you just arbitrarily put a person from another part of the world into a different part of the world with no explanation, right? I don't know if they will explain she's from a different part of the world. I don't know whether like she can like I guess pass. Like I said, I didn't really take much notice of it when I looked at the pictures. But like at the end of the day, right? If it's a good movie, I think that overrides those kind of concerns. Like, but it still can be annoying to people who are like history nerds or like geography nerds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think it damages the act, like the character, because
I think
yeah.
it. Oh, go ahead.
So for example, in Race to the Edge, which takes place between movie 1 and 2, they have a black like character in the like as a antagonist in the show, but he's not a Viking nor from the same like part of the world as they are. Like he literally works for the villain of the second movie, and they even the villain from the second movie is not like clarified to be a Viking. He's just another person from another part of the world.
So, quick question: um is Burke? It's Burke, right?
Yep.
That's the name of their island.
Yep.
Is it meant to be like on Earth, or is this like a fantasy world?
It's a fantasy Earth.
Okay. To kind of steelman it, I still think it was not the right decision to do the recast, like the race swap. to steelman it a little bit, you know, if it's a fantasy world, like you can't make the same arguments necessarily of like, oh, this is a Scandinavian country, like
It
we know
is.
historically like this and that. Like it's a fantasy world, like, you know, House of the Dragon is an example of this. Like, you know, they race swapped the some of the Targaryens.
Well, they were Valerians, and also the reason that
Valerians.
worked is because they're a sea like sailing family, right? They travel all over the world, so there are parts of the world that would have been black, right? The Summer Isles, so like they could have gone down there in like a past generation over the like hundreds of years they did migrate. I mean, so like they picked the perfect house to do it with, and also it worked within the narrative. So like from both a lore perspective and a narrative perspective, it was actually like a genius move to race swap, and I think it
Yeah.
improved upon the story.
And
Yeah,
So I
again,
agree.
the
And that's
franchise
what I'm
has.
saying is
that's
like,
yeah.
I'm just saying like there's ways to make it work, especially in a fantasy world where you know it's you're not playing in the rules of actual, you know, human history.
But-
You're playing outside those rules a little bit.
Well, they are
My issue
Vikings.
with it, my big issue with it is that it basically hurts the movie because all the anti-woke people, which obviously I'm not a big fan of woke, but all the anti-woke people are going to basically make that like their reason to hate the movie.
It's
Whereas
not even the
instead of
anti-woke
talking
thing.
about the actual quality of the movie or like what we're talking about, which is why does this movie even exist, you know, a lot of the especially the less honest anti-woke people are gonna just glom onto that, and then on the other side, the people who are doing that, they're gonna use that as an excuse as to why people hate the movie because
But-
they're all racist, because they're all this and that, instead of no, because like the movie's bad, you did a bad job making it. That was a bad decision, but like we're not hating it because you made that decision, if that makes sense.
The Kenobi show is probably the best example of that.
100%.
The problem is.
preemptively
Oh yes,
Hold on.
absolutely.
foresaw like racist backlash with like air quotes. I'm sure there's a few unhinged people out there who were hating on her just because she's black. I mean, those people exist, unfortunately, but most people didn't like her because she was a terribly written character, and she also wasn't acted particularly well either. I'm sure the
The-
actress can do good in other roles, but she did not do good in that role.
the
So,
the problem with this argumentation is that even the woke people will agree, because Astrid are like, I will argue that Astrid is like one of the like best written female characters, like strong female characters that everybody keeps like craving. Like you have Ripley, you have
Hell
Sarah
yeah.
Connor, and you have Astrid. I would argue that Astrid is actually a strong female character because of her actions and the character, not because she's a girl.
yeah, I mean that's kind of how the
Lara
whole that's
Croft.
how you should write a character, right? I mean,
Exactly.
like, obviously there'll be like masculine and feminine traits that you can play with, but at the end of the day, they should be characters first, and then
Well,
stuff like race,
that's what I'm
gender,
saying. Like
sexuality, that should be just
they're
features, not the entirety of the purpose of that character.
that's what I'm saying. Like even the woke people that do understand that Astrid is a strong female character for them to look up to, they will be irritated by, why did you have to ruin it by turning her black?
Yeah, it changes. It distracts from the actual conversation, and it basically is like
It's a lose-lose,
Like,
no matter how you fucking
it's a
slice
lose
it.
lose, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
you
mean,
get
like-
you get DEI points, and you get all those things that you know you
Yeah,
you
but
kind of look
come on,
for.
people that complain about race, like if the only complaint you have about a character is like superficial race, like oh I hate her or I hate this character because he's black, or he's or it's a girl, or whatever. If it's a superficial reasons, like why are we taking these people seriously? Our problem, or at least mine, is that it ruins the character, and I have enough reasons to back it the fuck up. Like I don't hate
Now-
it just because she's black. I'm hating that they're ruining a genuinely strong female character that girls would look up to. Like arguably Astrid is like one of the strongest female characters I can think of.
So, like for example, for this though, since she is, I feel so weird like getting to like the genetics of it all, but it's like since she is so light skinned, you could just have her grandma be a foreigner, and then that really doesn't change much of the story. You know what I mean? Like she would look like someone who had like a black grandmother or great grandmother. You know what I mean? So like if that's what they're going with here, that you wouldn't change anything in the story. It's just like for some reason they retcon where her grandmother was from. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
If the story's good, then it
won't
really
matter.
shouldn't be an issue, but it's going to be an issue, and it's going to detract from the movie. So that even if it is good, the conversation's always gonna be ruined by that.
Yeah, and,
Yeah,
and
they
also
they shot themselves in the
biggest
head
my
with that
biggest
one.
problem with it too is that people can't just have like a genuine conversation of, like when and when you shouldn't do it. Like people just get so, or at least some people get so unhinged about it on both sides and just ruins it for everyone.
Yeah.
I guess the thing is, I have no fucking faith whatsoever that the story will be good, even if they remake it 1-to-1. Because
Who's making this again? Universal?
no, yes, Universal is making it. Dean DeBlois is the
Have-
director. However, the writer is
Have
the
their
same
movies-
fucking
Have their
blue.
movies been good lately?
Hold on. No. Because the director is the same guy that made the first movie. However, the writer is the same glue sniffer that made Toy Story 4.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's not a great sign, but I mean, good writers can make bad things and bad writers can make good things. I mean, like it's not
I'm sorry,
a
Toy
given.
Story 4 got ruined because they betrayed Woody's character. They literally turned him into like
Oh yeah,
Buzz.
Toy
in the
Story
first
4 is a
yeah.
shitty movie. I'm not denying that. I'm saying bad writers can occasionally make a good thing, and good writers can occasionally make a bad thing. Like this could be a
True.
fluke, and he could write something
Yeah.
good.
True,
Like
but
I understand your concern, but like
yeah.
I'm not saying it's a
There's a lot
possibility.
of
Someone
red
could do something.
flags, like
Yes, I agree.
the
There is a lot of red
animation,
flags.
the way the way the actors like remake this. Not Toy Story 4 hate it. I'm sorry, but it's like poorly written. It betrays the characters. No, it wasn't. Hold on. There's somebody in the comments that Agent P3 that says Toy Story 4 was good. I'm sorry to like burst your bubble, but when you when you make a character betray who they are, especially in the fourth installment of their like journey, that's not, especially without reason, like that's not good written stuff. That's like saying Luke Skywalker being a coward is a good written story.
Yeah. Just to kind of hop on the back of that, Woody's whole character throughout the first 3 movies is be loyal to your kid, and then he abandons his kid.
Yeah,
That's like the basest way that you can put it. And if you're fine with that, then hey, go for it. Oh yeah, they betrayed Buzz really poorly. Like Buzz got
He
killed.
flannerized
I
in
think
that
they
movie?
ruined all of them.
I mean,
The like the ones
Jesse
that they
got
gave
nothing to
attention
do.
to, like even
Jesse
Bo
got
Peep.
Jesse got nothing to do. Buzz really got sidelined hardcore. He really had nothing to do. He was such a huge part of the first 2, and to a lesser extent the third one, but really the first 2, he was a major player in those movies. Nobody, not right now. And what do you mean his kid didn't want him anymore? Bonnie was all about Sheriff Woody and having him hanging out. And
Is he talking about Andy or Bonnie?
No, we're Bonnie in Toy Story 4. Is Bonnie? That's his kid.
Oh, yeah. And then
It's basically
she
the
gets all
same.
obsessed with Forky, right?
It's the same story as Toy Story 1. Woody thinks that
That's where he
like
replaced
Andy
Dad.
doesn't want him anymore, but he fights for it. In Toy Story 4, he thinks
gives
that
up.
Bonnie doesn't want him anymore because of like that garbage ass Sporky thing, and he literally leaves Bonnie. That's a betrayal of character, 1-to-1. It's like Luke again. Luke attempting to kill his best friend's and sister's son just because he had a bad nightmare, and then cowering.
What do you think
Yeah.
of Agent P3's comment? So he evolved and chose his own happiness over his kids.
dude, he's a toy. He's not supposed to choose his happiness. He's
Well,
supposed to choose.
It wasn't even built up. That's my
I
main
think
concern.
I
If
think
I
I
don't,
think that could have potentially worked. Maybe I don't know. I
if it
don't
was
like
well
saying
made,
that
yes,
nothing
it could have
can't
worked.
work.
It would have made sense. Like if the story made it in such a way that actually Woody was being forgotten and just put in a shelf, and randomly sees Bo Peep like run around with a bunch of toys outside, and he hasn't been like Woody hasn't been played with for like months. I will agree that Woody leaves because he's forgotten. He hasn't been played with. His old news, like Bonnie literally stopped playing with him. That would be like a genuine fucking like reason for Woody to even think about it. And then like after being with Bo Peep, he like enjoys it, but then he's like feeling guilt, tries to get back to Bonnie, and Bonnie doesn't even bother to look for him at all. And then he chooses to be with Bo Peep. That makes sense. However, there's no setup. The thing is, Woody tries to save Sporky and bring him back to Bonnie, but then runs into Bo Peep and gives up on everything he stood for.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, Mr. Agent P, but
Yeah, I'm sorry.
this is an L take for you, bud. Toy Story 4 is,
I'd like
if
to
you enjoyed it,
interject when you guys are done.
if you liked it,
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm happy for you.
What do you guys say?
Yeah, go for it.
Yep.
It's a little off topic. That's why I want you to finish it off.
Oh, go ahead. I have to take care of my kid first.
Yep.
Okay, this is a little off topic from the Toy Story thing, but I got a comment response from this one guy on my How to Train a Dragon video. So I'm just gonna read the comment for you. So the way he starts is, he says it's funny that when a movie that actually works amazing in live action setting is announced, everyone hates it. But when the movies where it was a bad idea in the first place were made, everyone was so excited. What is the freaking point in this whining? How to Train Your Dragon works fine in a live action setting because it doesn't have animated gags like Lion King. Lion King looks soulless because all the gags were just removed. Characters didn't have any expression and they felt boring and bland, but everyone loved it. But now, when DreamWorks movies that doesn't have gags like this is made into a live action, everyone pretends like they hate live action movies. That's idiotic. How to Train Your Dragon is the first movie that is perfect for having a live action remake, to which I responded with, it's because it's completely pointless. Sorry, it isn't.
Just send him a link to the live
It's because
stream.
it's completely pointless. Pardon me?
Just
Yeah, Leo,
just send him a
sorry
link to the
interrupt.
live
You want to
stream.
have you want to have Agent P3 on?
Yeah, I don't mind. You can invite him if you want. Wait, are we level cap? Yes, shit. Unfortunately I have to remove Collie. Yeah. You can invite him in if you want.
Okay, how do I do that? I mean, he's in that server, Leo. If you just want to go in there.
I think you're allowed to invite people. In
Oh,
the
am I?
Yeah, it's in the top right, the people with the plus icon.
Ooh.
As long as you have him as a friend on Discord, I think you should be able to invite him. Because I don't remember putting a lock on it. Oh, there he is.
There we go.
There we go.
Is he in?
It's calling him. So all he has to do is like answer / join the voice chat. But yeah, back to the point I was originally making, is that okay? He's getting on his PC. Is that there's way too many red flags, like race swapping Astrid. The animation is, let's be honest, CGI smudge, especially in certain scenarios. When Toothless sits down and looks at Hiccup with those shitty ass eyebrows, he looks soulless as fuck. And on top of that, they fucked up his legs. His legs aren't supposed to bend 3 times. In any case, the writer is the same fucker that wrote Toy Story 4. I don't know what else he wrote, but so far he doesn't really have a good track. The costumes look abysmal. Like the back of Hiccup's tunic is literally leather. while in the original movie it was just the Hiccup's tunic was full fur and it was almost as big as him.
All right, so the guy who wrote Toy Story 4 did Finding Nemo, Wall-E, Toy Story 2, Toy Story, Toy Story 3, Monsters Inc., Bugs Life, Ratatouille, Up, Monsters University. He did all the Pixar movies.
How the
Tribbles,
fuck did he make Toy
Cars.
Story 4 then? God damn, that's a pretty good track record. Up, and he made so many good. What the hell?
I told you, good writers can make bad things.
What
and bad writers can
what
make
drugs
things.
did they put him in? I swear to God, that is way too good of a track record.
Agent
It's kind of like having an F1 driver that like breaks
Well,
records
alright,
constantly.
He also could have been like as a credit like on all the Pixar movies. I don't know how much he
Oh,
had involved.
okay.
Hi, Agent. How you doing?
Hello, agent.
There you go. Hey, sorry. Hey guys, how are you guys doing?
Oh, there
Yeah,
you are,
what'd you say?
Perry.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
We're
that's-
talking about this garbage live
a good
action
one.
thing.
Yeah, I was listening to some of these you were saying. Well, yeah. First, the How to Train Your Dragon. I think it looks fine. I think I don't know if it's the set design or like the cinematography. It feels like a made for TV movie to me. Everything else is fine. Like I personally don't hate the idea of a live action How to Train Your Dragon movie.
I wouldn't
But
have hated
out of all
it.
DreamWorks movies, I think How to Train Your Dragon would probably translate the best in live action. So I don't like hate the idea, but we'll
Imagine
see.
a live action Kung Fu Panda.
No, I don't think that's a good idea. I think like maybe Megamind or Shrek might lend itself.
Oh
well to
no,
live action.
Megamind will
Oh,
look
no.
horrible. Megamind
way.
CGI will
If
look
they do a good
abysmal.
job- if they do a good job with
Come
his like his makeup or whatever, that might be cool, but that'll be hard to do because of his like big
No,
head.
they're just
But
gonna
going
do it
back to-
CGI because they're lazy fucks.
I think
What
I
you
agree.
say?
They might.
With you. I think I agree with you, Agent P. I think that if you're gonna pick something from DreamWorks catalog to make live action, How to Train Your Dragon probably would be the pull, but
Mhm.
not like this.
No, this is
I think this
horrible.
is the worst option.
I agree with you that
I-
How to Train Your Dragon live action would have worked, but make a different story. They could have went with Heather and Dagger. They could have literally went anywhere in the world. Maybe even talk about Krogan. They could have literally,
Mhm.
actually, they could have shown a movie where they show how
They do Hiccup's kid or something.
no, it did that too, but it could be like literally anybody else, no new characters altogether. We have no connection to the original cast, world, portion of the world, whatever. Or pick another set of characters. Like Heather and Dagger are the like beloved characters from the show.
Yeah, but which one's safer, right? I mean, corporations are pretty risk averse.
Yeah,
so-
I don't think it's a bad thing that they're doing part of the property that everyone knows. I don't think that's a bad idea. But okay, going back to Toy Story 4, who is working on this new How to Train Your Dragon movie that's associated with Toy Story 4?
The writer of Toy Story 4 is the same as the writer for this movie.
Are you talking about
Oh, and what
Andrew Stanton? Is that what you're talking about?
Andrew Satan is writing this movie. I always see Dean Blouse.
That
who
Dean
wrote
DeBlois,
the
that's the
original.
director. It's the same director that made the
also-
originals.
Where are you seeing that Andrew Staten also wrote? He also wrote some other like better Pixar movies than Toy Story 4. But where are you
Yeah, I think
seeing
he
Andrew
wrote the
Staten?
screenplay, though.
I've
I just
I've
I
gotten
might have
It's on
misinterpreted
Wikipedia.
it because he said Toy Story 4 writer, and that was the first name that came up. So I just assumed that was the guy. So I think that's on me.
Yeah, I don't think
I could
anyone
go.
from Toy
The thing
Story
is,
4 is
I'm
working
willing to
on-
accept that I'm wrong because I've heard it. I have the information of the Toy Story 4 writer being the writer for this movie from a YouTube video.
I
Oh
don't think that's
well, that could be
right.
a unreliable source, man.
I don't think that's
I'm
right,
willing to
yeah.
accept.
But-
However, up until this point, there haven't been many misleading sources about this.
Well,
Yeah, I
this
don't
could be
think
the
he
first.
worked on this movie.
As a
But
writer,
going back to as a writer, going back to Toy Story 4, just because that's why I wanted to
hold
join.
on.
I think I think respectfully, you guys are wrong about
Spicy.
or about Woody being out of character for choosing himself over his kid. Because you're right, in the previous three movies, Woody always did something, or his whole character was about being there for his kid. Toy Story 2, he strayed away from it, but he learned, oh, I need to be there. Like instead of being on in like a display at this museum, where being pretty much immortal by being worshipped by a bunch of kids, he should be there for his one kid that's always been there with him, even if he scraps him up for like a second, if that makes sense. But in four, it kind of subverts the idea we learned in two, and kind of like says, well, what if the toy, like what happens when the toy owner, doesn't want to play with the toy anymore? What does the toy do then? And Woody's answer to that initially was, okay, let me make sure that the new toy is taken care of, because that art in and of itself is that's a version of what we knew Woody as from the first movie. Because when Buzz joined the picture, all Woody wanted to do was get rid of Buzz, or he was jealous of Buzz. Now in four, he come a long way to be like, okay, let me help this new toy that's replacing me and make sure that he knows what his purpose is. But then when he
So
meets Bo Peep and meets up with Bo Peep again to see how happy she is being a lost toy, he recognizes that, you know what, maybe my purpose is to help other toys find other kids instead of being the sole main toy for a kid. And I think that's kind of like the direction Toy Story 4 is going. I think it was built up for sure. But go ahead. I already talked a lot. Go
You know,
ahead
I
and
kind of have to
go
agree with
back
this
to you.
guy here. I kind of
Oh,
have to agree
hold
with him.
on. So
I don't feel
on
strongly one way or the other because I only seen it
on
once, but I'll let you guys debate.
on one hand, yes, I was wrong about the writer. Fair game.
Mm-hmm.
My bad. Got bad information.
You're good.
Two, we did see what happened to lost toys that lost
Toy Story
their
3.
child. It was the teddy bear from Toy Story 3, Walso or whatever his name is.
Lasso.
Yeah, he ended up in a kindergarten.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll jump in on that. Like oh, oh, sorry, my kid just freaked out. Hey, go sit on the couch, though. Yeah, just put a blanket on. So the whole storyline that you described there of like trying to figure out what to do if your kid doesn't want you anymore, that was dealt with in Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
And I think it was dealt with much better. Basically, the idea was that your kid, your kid grows up, you move on, you kind of have an existential crisis, about that as a toy. They're talking about, oh, we're gonna get put in the attic, we're gonna get thrown away, all these kind of terrifying things. And then they find the daycare, and obviously they have to overthrow, the fascist ruler there. But they find that like the most fulfilling life for a toy is from Toy Story 2, not to go sit on a shelf in a museum. It's to, the only thing worth living for is being loved by your kid, right? That's the kind of the message of Toy Story 2. Toy Story 3's message is there's always a kid out there who will love you basically until you kind of fall apart, but then you can be fixed. Like, that's a lot of the message there. And it kind of plays with the themes of like, hey, there's always going to be someone who loves you, even if kids are kind of fickle about it, right? And Woody finds another kid who loves him, and he basically gets new life out of that. They didn't even let it doesn't even look like it's been a year since Toy Story 3, between 3 and 4. Like, Bonnie seems like she's the exact same age as she was in Toy Story 3, maybe a year or two older. And then all of a sudden, like, Woody has completely lost all of that development from the first one, and now he's depressed again because he's not in the cycle of toys that's being played with. And he's kind of like, he's all depressed about that. When, tomorrow, like, I have a 4-year-old, which is, I think, the same age as Bonnie in the movie. Like, tomorrow, my son could pick up a toy that he hasn't played with in 6 months, and it's his new favorite toy for the next year. Like, and Woody having grown up already through an entire kid's life cycle should already know about that. This shouldn't be a new existential crisis for him. And so getting
Not
to a
the,
point where he sees, Bo Peep out there living her best life and being like, this superhero, trying to help people. That's such a that should be so foreign to him, because that's not what a toy's job is. A toy's job isn't to find other, like, match up lost toys with kids. Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's like such a weird thing to add to the universe of Toy Story. When his
I can see
character
that.
development was already kind of satiated. And in addition to that, like, just him being willing to abandon Buzz, him being willing to abandon Jesse, Slinky Dog, like all of
Yeah.
his people to go off
Mhm.
with, the chick that he had a fling with, which, by the way, he's not having a romance with her. Like, that she
They're
made
just
it pretty
friends.
clear that she completely friend zoned him, and he's still simping after her in that movie pretty hard. I think it was a huge, not only waste of time, a cash grab, but they didn't even tell a good story. Those are kind of the big issues that I have with Toy Story 4. And again, to kind of go back to what I said at the beginning, I'm of the position, even with things that I completely despise, like the sequels, if you like them and you find value out of them, awesome. I'm glad that it's there for you. I'm glad that you can do that. But that doesn't inherently make it good.
I got you. So
Uh,
like I see what you're saying in the context of Toy Story 4 being a traditional like Toy Story movie, what we know about the rules of the world and what the purpose of a toy is, I can see why Toy Story 4 might have disappointed you. And from even from the perspective of the sequel, because I think the sequel trilogy, for the most part, is a disappointment. And not because of Last Jedi. Actually, I'm one of the I don't know if I'm one of the few people, but I'm on the side of the Last Jedi was not a bad movie,
oh
and I
God.
like the new ideas that they introduced into the Star Wars universe. But the overall trilogy was a disappointment to me because in the next movie they pretty much retconned everything that happened in the Last Jedi, um, to make fans happy, and end up making this mess of a movie that doesn't really satisfy anybody. So
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
glad that you have that take, because
yeah,
I disagree with people who like The Last Jedi, but
uh,
I don't understand the people who like The Last Jedi and also like Rise of Skywalker. I'm like,
oh,
y'all
yeah,
hold,
Rise of
completely
hold, hold,
Skywalker
hold,
is
missed
hold, hold.
that movie.
I
yeah,
have a
it's
fucking
pretty
hold
much.
on. I have a list of points to make. So,
Mhm.
which one do you want us to go with? Like the Toy Story one to like put a cap on it, or the
I was going to tie my
I
point back into Toy Story 4 real quick
okay.
because that's why I was
Yeah,
here. But
just to throw it out, I think we could go down a huge rabbit hole with the sequels. Maybe we could save that for
Oh
another
yeah.
stream.
I'm
yeah,
down to shoot
but
it now too. Like, I don't mind. Like, oh, both of these discussions are fine. But basically, to quickly touch on the Toy Story points.
yeah,
Point. The thing is, Woody is really old. Like, it's an old
yes.
toy. He's already been through more kids before Andy. Like, at least one before
There's a
Andy.
theory that he was with his dad before he got to
Uh,
Andy.
in any
So
case,
like,
this is not new for Woody.
yeah,
And if you look at the
hmm
bigger picture, Toy Story 1 was about um, when you get a new toy, don't mistreat the others. And in general, the whole purpose of the first movie is don't mistreat your toys.
hmm
The second one was
or
don't be
real is
afraid
more
to.
about.
Yeah.
I feel like sorry, Toy Story 1 is more about just the idea of sharing and opening your heart to other people, sharing the love of a kid other than just being yourself, being selfish and only getting that love. Because like Woody's whole arc in that movie was just learning that it's okay that I'm not the most important
Oh
thing
no no
in
no!
Andy's life.
I'm talking more overall of the purpose of a toy. Like, what's the message?
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I got
yeah,
you.
the first movie is basically don't mistreat your toys. That's why you have
Uh-huh.
Sid. Like, as much as
Good.
the Woody Buzz dynamic is kind of the core of the movie, the overall message of the movie is also don't mistreat your toys. the second part of the second movie message is like enjoy your toys, spend time with them, don't just lock them up in a box and put them on a shelf. And the third movie is basically don't forget your toys when you grow up. Pass them on because at the end of the day, they were a precious part of you and they can be a precious part of somebody else. Toy Story 4 literally like shatters each one of these steps and
From that
messages.
perspective, I can see that. But I think just from a movie and writing standpoint, I I don't mind that they kind of broke the cycle of a toy with Woody's decision at the end of it. And I kind of see I really see Toy Story 4 as more of an epilogue to the first three movies. I don't really see it a part of like the same like narrative franchise, if that makes sense. I see it more as a cap off of
So
the original
What do you think
trilogy.
about Toy
Which
Story 5 coming out? Because Toy Story 5
I'm
is
gonna as a huge Toy Story fan, I love the idea of more Toy Story movies, but at the same time, it's kind of a wait and see. I need to see a trailer before I really
Right.
judge it. I do think it's a little weird that the main bad guy is going to be a bunch of Buzz Lightyear figures, but we'll see what they do with that. I can't really be like, oh, like that's a terrible idea because I don't know what the storyline is going to be for that. So I can't
They
be like, oh,
kind
they
of
shouldn't do
did
that.
that in
But
2 and 3.
let's just
I
Yeah.
see what
think
they do.
I think
I
this
think
might be
the
a case of too much of a good thing, but I mean, you never
yeah,
know. They could have wow our socks
it
off.
could be a
But
good movie because I enjoy Toy Story 4. So like, and I think
That
I was
Bless
really
your
afraid of
heart.
like they shouldn't
that's
have
a
made Toy
hundred
Story
percent
4.
fair. Like you again,
Yeah,
you deriving enjoyment from it, that's
yeah.
fine. You calling it
It's
good
not
writing, it's
it's not as good as
sketchy.
2 or 3, but I thought it was fine. Like I thought it to me at least it justified its existence. But a Toy Story 5 might be pushing it.
so
But
let
we'll see.
me
I think the idea of sorry, let me I think the idea of the technology versus toys is a cool idea. But again, we have to see what the story is. But sorry, what was your question,
oh
Master Rowe?
yeah the question that I would have for you is look at the ending of Toy Story 3, right? The scene where
Hmm.
Andy comes and he passes on the toys over to Bonnie, right?
Hmm.
And then you look at the ending of Toy Story 4.
Hmm.
Which one do you think is a better send off for the series?
Definitely Toy Story 3. Like that's no
Yeah.
question. But
Okay. So for
go ahead.
me, yeah, so for me, that was like I didn't think Toy Story 3 needed to be made at all. I thought that the first two
Toy
movies
Story
are
3.
Toy Story 3. Yeah, I
Oh,
didn't think
really?
Toy Story
Okay.
yeah. So I think Toy
Okay.
Story 1 and 2 are pretty much perfect movies. Like they tell amazing stories, they have great emotional beats, and they Toy Story 2 ends with, Woody being like firmly on the side of I'm a toy, I'm Andy's toy, whatever happens, happens, right? I think that would have been a great place to start. But I think that the idea of dealing with what happens to toys when their owner grows up, I think that's a really interesting thing. And I think that while Toy Story 3 didn't need to exist, I think it's an interesting idea to play with. And obviously, where are you going to play with that idea more than with Toy Story, right? And so I think they capped it off perfectly there. They also,
Mhm.
like Leo was saying, they dealt with already, the idea of what happens when a toy gets lost, which
Yeah.
is kind of like the whole point of Toy Story 4. So it kind of makes that redundant. And the ending of that movie, the toys being passed on, basically to have fresh life with this new person, that is such a strong ending to the series that having an epilogue beyond that, I think
Ruins
we were
it.
talking before about like, does this remake of How to Train Your Dragon or sequels of movies retroactively make other movies worse? I don't think they make the movies worse, but they can lessen the impact of
Except
those
Rise of
movies for
Skywalker.
sure.
Except Rise of Skywalker, that's the exception.
Yeah.
Because it retconned everything. So it made
100%.
it like rewatching Force Awakens. I actually think it's a great movie. That's a great movie on its own. But
The
we watching Force Awakens with the concept of Rise of Skywalker makes it worse to me now. I can't watch it the
Uh,
same way that I did when I first saw it.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
agent
We were talking about that a little bit earlier. Like,
Hmm.
there's problems with The Force Awakens, but if it had set up a great series, then
And it
people
wouldn't
would have
matter.
been much more forgiving of those issues.
Right. Right.
But in hindsight, it makes it worse.
Right.
Now,
And
I don't think that Toy Story 4 makes Toy Stories 1, 2, and 3 worse necessarily,
mhm.
but I think it does lessen the aftertaste, basically.
I can see that. I can see that. And again, Toy
Uh,
Story 4 is not my favorite Toy Story movie. I think it's right above the first one for me. And the other two, the two and three are like my favorite of the quadrilogy or whatever you want to call it. I
That's
think it's
very
still a solid movie and it does its job. Like I don't think it tarnishes the Toy Story legacy. Like I mean, from
it
a
outright
Rotten Tomatoes
contradicts it
standpoint,
though.
it has a 99%, I think, which is less than the other dreams all have 100%. So I guess it
To
technically
quote
it did tarnish it,
to
but
quote
not by much.
you,
If that makes sense.
like the same way the Rise of Skywalker ruined TLJ for you because it retconned everything. That's Toy Story 4 to Toy Story 3.
I don't agree. I don't agree.
Well,
I
it's
disagree
the
with
same
that.
scenario.
It's similar idea, but not the same result. I
Uh,
feel
I think
like
he's arguing the execution of Toy Story 4 was better than the execution of Rise of Skywalker. In my
yeah,
opinion.
that's what I'm saying. 'Cause,
well,
like,
yeah, I
so
agree, but
and
my point was more of like Toy Story 4 damaging and being a bad movie because of the previous established lore and characters and
I
stuff.
don't think it damages pre-establishing lore or like character. It just kind of it puts the characters in a different scenario. It makes like,
Uh,
okay, what if like Woody lost his purpose of making a child happy? What if the child doesn't? What if Woody himself doesn't make a child happy?
does
Like,
it
what
make
would Woody
sense
do?
though for Woody to like lose that?
I think it. What do you mean? Like, what it would make sense for Woody to lose what specifically?
Well, based on what we know about Woody, does it make sense that Woody, the toy that never gave up on staying with the child and making the child happy no matter what, would give up on that, which is
Well,
which is
from
the core of his
Woody's
character?
perspective, Bonnie doesn't make Woody himself does not make Bonnie happy, which is the reason why Woody's main motivation Toy Story 4 is making sure Forky understands his purpose as a toy.
How
So
is
once he did that, Woody was free to do whatever he wanted to do, and he decided to go with Bo Peep to make other kids happy. So I think that's a good
but
conclusion to his arc.
how is that
Like,
different than Toy Story 1 when Buzz showed up and Toy Story 3 when Andy's grown
well,
up?
Woody's a different character at that point. He hasn't gone through the arcs that he's gone through in the
Well,
first two
no,
movies.
at 3 he did. That's my point. Like, how is you said Bonnie stopped playing with him, stopped caring about him? How is that any different than when Buzz showed up and when Andy grew up in Toy Story 3?
How
Because
much
in
longer
both,
is 4 after 3? 'Cause that could make a
Well,
difference as well.
Woody in three, Woody felt like Andy wanted Woody to go with him to college and wanted all the other toys to go with him in the attic, right? That was what Woody thought would make Andy happy. Then when he saw Bonnie and realized, for himself, he doesn't want to be just stuck on himself at a college or he wants that to be played with his friends. That's when he made the selfish decision of I need Andy to let me go so I could be happy with my friends. Does that make sense? So, in actuality, Woody, this isn't the first time Woody made a selfish decision for his own personal gain because he did that in Toy Story 3.
it's not the
If
first. He
Woody
did that
wasn't
in Toy
selfish, he
Story
would have
1.
stayed with Andy,
He did that.
right?
Hold on. Woody made a selfish decision in Toy Story 1 when he like that
But
comedic like chain reaction of getting Buzz out the window.
he did. But I'm talking about in terms of like his purpose of making a child happy. Does that make sense? Because like Andy, remember in the beginning of Toy Story 3, Woody was like, he was against the idea of them going to daycare because he was like, this is not what Andy wants us to be, where Andy wants us to be. He wants you guys to be in the attic, and he wants me to be with him in college, right? But then he realizes that, you know what, my friends want to be played with, and hell, I want to be played with too. So he makes the selfish decision to join his toys when Andy gives him off to Bonnie. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but that is a selfish decision because that's not what Andy would want. Woody convinces Andy this is best for him and the toys with that note or whatever, but
Well,
that's not what Andy initially wanted to do. So it's kind of the same idea with Toy Story 4. Does that make sense?
But Andy
that's
had the option when he saw Woody in the box to give it to Bonnie or to
yeah.
not do it. And
Like
so
at
he
the end
made
of Toy
it was
Story
Andy's
3.
decision.
Like
It
at the end
wasn't
of
a
Toy.
decision.
That's the thing. At
It
the
was
end of
Woody.
Toy.
It was Woody who got the ball rolling because Andy probably wouldn't have done that unless Woody was already in that box. So he saw Bonnie immediately reach out to Woody, and remember Andy like
Yeah, he
reflex
pulls back.
put him
Yeah.
close to his chest. Yeah. And then he looks at Woody and he's like, you know, I had so many good memories with you. It's time for you to make someone else happy. And that's like that moment where Woody and Andy were in link with each other and we're like, this is the right decision to do. Even
So
though this is what Andy, this is not what initially Andy wanted. He agreed that yeah, it's time for me to let you go. It's time for you to make another child happy.
so wouldn't Toy Story 4 literally mean that Woody betrayed Andy and goes against his wishes
Well, no,
of making
because
Bonnie happy?
I mean, yes, but no, because
Well, that's
it's
a
so Woody
contradiction.
making that is. No, I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is, what would you classify as a good movie? Like, what determines a good movie for you?
Well, I guess a good movie for me. I feel like you're setting me up for something, but a good movie to me is a movie that has a very compelling narrative and like compelling characters more so than a narrative. Like the story could be shit, but if the characters are entertaining or they have good motivations, then I think that makes a good movie to me. Because some of my favorite movies of all time have very simple stories, but the characters are what make up the runtime to make it enjoyable.
Well,
If that
I
makes
do
sense.
I do agree that character is king.
well,
Hmm.
okay. However, in this scenario, the character is being changed for no reason besides the plot demands it.
I mean I think you can say you dislike the change, but I don't think you can say it was for no reason. Know what I
Well, no,
mean?
no, no. There's no
Yeah,
setup
that's what
for
I'm
it.
saying.
There's literally no setup for
There
it
is okay.
besides
There is setup. There is though. That was the other thing I wanted to bring up
Bo
because at the
Peep
beginning of
giving
Toy
him a
Story
pep talk
4,
about it doesn't fucking count.
say that one more time.
Bo Peep giving him a pep talk after already deciding to leave doesn't mean anything.
Okay, so let's go. Let's go. I know it's been a minute since you guys seen Toy Story 4, and it's been a minute since I've seen it too. But let's go back to the beginning of the movie. So remember in the beginning, I think they're saving RC or something like that, and then that scene, that flashback sequence ends with Bo Peep being shipped off. This is like the story of why she wasn't in Toy Story 3. So Bo Peep initiates Woody to or implies that she wants Woody to join Bo Peep and getting shipped off to wherever they're going. And then when he's about to join, but then he hears Andy calling to her or saying, "Where's Woody?" And that he pauses and is like, "No, I need to join my kid, even though I would be much happier being with my friend Bonnie, or sorry, Bo Peep. Uh, I need to serve my purpose as a toy and to make my child happy." Uh, Cuts to present day in the movie, we see that Bonnie hasn't played with Woody in a long time, and now Woody's in a situation where he himself can make his kid happy. So what does he do? And that kind of leads to him, wanting to make sure Forky knows what his purpose is, and then leads to him being like, well, like if I can't make Bonnie happy, if all these other toys can make Bonnie happy, so maybe my purpose now is to make other people happy, and along with making myself happy. Does that timeline make sense? Like, do you understand how it was kind of set up in the beginning,
The
or did
timeline
that?
makes yeah, the timeline makes sense within the movie. Like
Yeah.
they invented a setup that didn't
Oh
actually
God.
happen, and then they paid it off. I
In the
don't find
movie.
that in the
But
movie. Yeah,
you see that in the other movies where Woody always does things to make sure his kid is happy. It's just in the context of his mindset at the time. In Toy Story 2, he definitely traded away the most from it because he was gonna leave his entire life with Andy and his other friends just to be happy on his own. And then you realize, oh no, like I think my purpose now is to
But
make
doesn't
Andy
this
happy because that would make me more fulfilled.
but hold on,
Go ahead.
doesn't all of this
By the way,
contradict the whole point?
the one person in chat is siding with Agent P. So
I know, I
That's
know.
my friend.
I
That's my
know.
friend.
I was gonna say, I was wondering if this was
But doesn't everything you just said contradict Woody wanting to leave, like Bonnie? Like you have
I doesn't
Andy.
want to play with them anymore. And
The thing is, you have the
putting
lesson from
himself.
movie 2. You have Andy passing Woody over to Bonnie, and considering that up until this point, Woody has
You admit he's a bias. That's why. Thanks for being honest.
like
ahead, sorry.
it's the core of his character. Again, it's like Luke Skywalker turning from the courageous, hopeful, like hero into the cowardly hermit or hobo.
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
will like to point out that I could be swayed on Toy Story 4. I'm not getting swayed on The Last Jedi. There's just no way, but we'll have
Okay.
that discussion.
I'm not even gonna touch that
It-
because I disagree with your points of Last Jedi.
Fair
I'm not
enough,
even
but
trying
yeah, the
Uh,
Last Jedi is objectively bad and poorly written. Like
Yeah.
you cannot.
There's worse things in Last Jedi than Toy Story 4. I'll say that, but I think the things that work in Last Jedi like really work.
Go ahead.
It's
I
another
want to
conversation.
hear that.
So
Oh God,
let me
Go
throw
ahead.
this out there real quick.
yeah.
I think Forky is a terrible,
Yes.
terrible. Not only like his existentialism of I'm trash. It's like, yeah, true, you are. Like that's but if you have a kid and they've made a craft and brought it home from school, they play with it for like an hour and then it gets thrown in the trash. And they never think about it again, or it breaks because it's just held up by clay. It's
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous that Woody would look at this tiny, you know,
Frankenstein's
fragile
monster.
piece of trash that's about to get thrown away in like 10 days and go, Bonnie's gonna be happy with him forever.
Well,
Yeah.
at the time,
It's like going
at the
from a
time, that
Ferrari
was
to a
Bonnie's favorite
fucking
toy.
piece of shit Civic.
You know what, Max Zor, I can get behind it. I agree with you. But in the concept of the movie, that was what Bonnie, that was what was making Bonnie happy at the time. So of course, Woody trying to make his kid happy would put all of his love and care to making sure Forky was safe and that he understood his purpose.
Correct me if
Instead
I'm
of thinking,
wrong,
like,
but
he's gonna get
wasn't
rid of him.
hold on,
like,
correct me
a
if I'm wrong,
month
but
later.
wasn't Woody her favorite toy?
Yeah, and then she got bored with them, which
Yeah,
Because
but
the
again,
Forky-
that's
realistic.
rehashing
realistic.
again. That's rehashing Toy Story 1. That was Woody's whole arc. Was like, it's okay if I'm not the favorite toy all the
But
time.
now,
That's
And
been
he's
the
gone through
first
that
three
different
movies in a nutshell.
That's
Well,
it reverts his character to going, oh, I'm not the favorite, I might as
But-
well die.
Yeah, that
No,
that
that
is
doesn't-
stupid.
again, like I said in Toy Story 1, if that happened when that happened, he was jealous of Buzz. He wanted to outdo him every way he could. In Toy Story 4, that flipped. It was like, let me prop this new toy up and make sure that he gets all the love and attention he needs and all the tools he needs to understand why being a toy is so cool.
Yeah,
That
but
was not
remember-
Woody in Toy Story 1 would not do that. Woody in Toy Story 1 was very petty. Like, he was a petty motherfucker. Like,
Yeah.
he did not want to share his spotlight at all. But he
100%.
learned that, okay, it's not okay it's okay to not be the most important thing in a child's life, and that
But
started his arc
but-
of like not being as selfish as he was in the first movie.
But the arc
But-
was, you don't have to be the you don't have to be the toy. It's okay to share the spotlight. But the conclusion was you always have to be there for your kid when he wants him, and that's what we see at the end of the movie is Andy goes back and he's not only playing with Buzz anymore. He's going back and he plays with Buzz and Woody. And that's, you know, by Toy Story 2, it's like they're the top two toys, right? And
Right.
that's Woody knowing I'm going to be there for my kid. And at the end of Toy Story 4, he goes, I don't need to be there for my kid because she's moved on to other toys. Like that is a betrayal of his character. And if you
I
call
don't think
if you
so.
call that character growth, then you know, I can
I
sort of
wouldn't
see where
say
you're
it's-
coming from, but it in my mind it's character regression and character betrayal.
It's character
because-
assassination. Let's
don't-
not jump around the fucking problem. It's character
I don't
assassination.
think it's character assassination.
You
I'll say
can
it's more
disagree
character
with it. We,
development, or like just
Agent P,
it's like go ahead. Go ahead.
the full respect. I'm fine with you disagreeing, but you cannot like deny the facts that are there.
I
Like-
don't think it's
Not the same
character regression. I think it's a character going through something that we've never seen him go through before, and him.
We
We
did see
literally
him go through
did.
it.
We explained
No,
to you
well,
3
we've never
times.
seen someone. We've never seen Woody getting completely abandoned like that before. Like getting
Toy
like
When he got
Story
knocked off
1.
the bed, he was under the bed. We saw it with
Yeah,
saw it with Jessie. She was completely abandoned
Okay,
by her
let me
kid.
let me
and
rephrase
given
that.
away.
Let me rephrase that. We have seen Woody being overshadowed by other toys. Like we have seen that. but we haven't seen that in the context of everything that Woody's gone through at this point. Does that make sense? But I think
It
I can
actually
see
goes
where y'all
against
are
you.
coming from, but I think Woody's a different character than he was in the first three movies. He's gone through so much.
If
He's a different
Gone through so much.
character.
if Toy
He is
Story
Okay.
4 was Toy Story 0
Right.
and at the end of Toy Story 0 he found Andy at the amusement park and then became Andy's toy, that would have made sense. That would have made more
Yeah.
sense than what we got now.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna ever explain how Andy and Woody met or like how Andy found Woody, but
My
I
point
would
is
be a cool
that
story to
in
see.
Toy Story 2, Andy's mom does say that's like a family heirloom. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
so
she does.
it's heavily implied that it was his dad's. Obviously, his dad isn't in the picture, so
Mhm.
we don't know if they're divorced or if he passed away. I think
Yeah.
it's more likely that he passed away, and that's why
Yeah.
it's such a sentimental toy. Because like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real with you. My kid's favorite toy accidentally ends up in the garage sale, and somebody offers $50 for it. My kid can get over it, unless it's like a sentimental thing, like, oh, this was
Right.
something there. So I think that's
Mm.
that they do kind of hint at it without being explicit about it. And I agree. I don't think we need a whole backstory for how Woody ended up in Andy's toy
My
box.
point with Toy Story 4 being Toy Story 0 was that character wise, like Woody gives up on his human, and then you have Toy Story 1 where he learns that he shouldn't give up on his, like, it makes more
Yes.
sense
Yeah, I
if
get what
Toy
you're
Story 4 was before everything else, because if you follow Woody and you pay attention to his character, his wants, his needs, what lessons he learns. At the end of 3, it's like you have a different fucking Woody in Toy Story 4. It makes no
100%.
sense.
Yeah, if Toy Story 4 was a prequel, I think I would have.
I would have
issues
agreed
with it.
that it works.
I disagree. I
Again,
disagree,
fine,
and
but you cannot
we
disagree
can't,
with the
but-
facts. The facts are there in black and white.
I'll agree with your
so-
statement, even though you're being facetious, which is funny. But I agree with the statement that Woody's a different character in Toy Story 4.
Yeah,
But I don't think it's
think this
portrayal
is-
of a character. I think it's just him becoming a different person.
uh,
That's my take on it.
So yeah, I think this is where a lot of things, like, even I'm sure a lot of these arguments would be very similar to the arguments you would have for Luke in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go, oh, he's changed. He's I'm not the
He's
same guy I
older.
was 10 years ago. Blah blah blah. Like, I understand where people come from with that argument. Hey, don't touch that.
You still have to build it up. You still
but
have
you
to
still-
explain how he got there.
Well, you have to do
Or
a
maybe they
lot of
could.
work.
Okay, so I like the idea. If we want to talk about Last Jedi now, I like the idea of Luke being a shell of himself. Because Luke
Oh.
Skywalker, even in our world and pop culture, he's such a larger than life person that
You can-
anyone under that status would probably crumble under, like, have some what you call imposter syndrome about themselves and crumble up under like that legend and all that stuff. So I
See, the
like the
problem-
direction to take Luke Skywalker, but I do agree. And I know a lot of arguments of Last Jedi haters is the way Luke came to that point, which was like him almost killing Kylo Ren when he felt like a hint of dark side in him. I think him becoming that curmudgeonly hermit that we see in the beginning of The Last Jedi, I think that reason wasn't enough. I do agree, but I
that's-
like the direction of his character enough to kind of like forgive it, but like be like, I see where you're going with, if that makes sense.
See, my thing with stories is I don't think any idea inherently is bad, right? It's all about
Mhm.
execution. Some ideas are
Right.
harder to pull off than others. Like, that is absolutely a thing. Like, making the symbol of hope and optimism be a curmudgeon old man would be difficult to do, and obviously they failed, in my opinion, and many of people's opinions failed to do so. However, I don't think that should prevent people from trying to do stories like that. It's just you have to put a lot more work in, which they didn't do. They wrote that on the fly and not enough time. If you're going to do something, as
No. He
monumental
had
as
time.
flip
He
a
had 2
character like
fucking
that,
years.
You have to put in a lot more work, a lot more effort, and make it the reasoning and build up way more sense. And like you said, you
But-
admitted yourself, the reasoning was pretty weak.
Yeah, like if Kylo Ren just has come to the dark side on his own, and Luke couldn't, like he's beating himself up over not seeing him turn and feeling like he could have done something over. That would have been better than him actually almost about to kill him. He felt like a little hinge of darkness in him. Like I think that was probably a little
The
too
same
much.
guy who saw goodness in
In his
Invader.
dad.
Invader
Yeah,
of all
exactly.
people.
I agree with that sentiment.
I think the
Um,
other big issue that TLJ Luke has is that there's 40 years of Luke after Return of the Jedi in the EU, where they do show him go through some of that stuff. They do show him go through the imposter syndrome, the I don't know what I'm doing. Ben and Yoda left too early. Like I'm supposed to retrain up this Jedi Order, but and again, I haven't, I haven't read all of the EU books. I think that's like almost an impossibility at this point.
But the
But,
EU is not canon, so it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
On top of
works out.
that,
I
books don't matter.
I really don't like that argument because
I
the
agree
only
as well.
reason it's not canon is because they said it's not canon.
I know, but
There's
at the
no-
end of the day, a
all
movie
canon
should stand on
means
its
is
own.
Who owns the rights to the property? That's all canon means. I
No,
think people should make their own canon based off of what makes most sense cohesively within.
Like
the
head
My
canon.
point is
canon
more
universe.
that
Yes,
a
exactly.
movie
Head
should.
canon over corporate canon any day.
My point is that
Yeah.
a movie should stand on its own, like in terms, like
Well,
it shouldn't
and-
have
and
a
that's-
book
that's
that
what I'm saying,
explains
it's like-
everything.
I mean,
No,
it
so
depends. I mean, like some movies are meant to be like a interquel, right? Like they're meant like Rogue One, right? Can't stand on its own. It just can't because of how you need to know the context of the situation to understand what's going on in that movie. I mean,
I agree.
I guess you could like the broad strokes of the movie understand, never seeing a Star Wars movie before, but you're not going to get the same experience
think-
watching Rogue
I
One.
think
if
you
haven't
can-
seen the original
You can
trilogy.
enjoy Rogue One without watching
Rogue One is
A New
safe
Hope.
enough.
But
Rogue
you
One
would
is
get
yeah.
more out of it if you watch A New Hope first, or like know the references. It's kind of like I just watched Wicked yesterday, which is a fantastic movie. But I've done the cardinal sin of not never seeing the original Wizard of Oz, but I still got the references and like what. Yeah, I've never seen the original Wizard of Oz. I need to watch it.
Me
But
neither.
I'm sitting here enjoying Last Jedi and Toy Story 4. Right, I'm a big YouTube movie guy. But anyway,
That's a
I haven't
classic, man.
seen Wizard of Oz, but I still enjoyed Wicked. I thought it held up on on its own merit. Even knowing a little bit about Wizard of Oz, because I mean Wizard of Oz is one of the most popular films of all time. It is the most popular film of all time. I know the references, like any reference to Wizard of Oz, I just haven't seen it. But I still enjoyed the movie without knowing a lot about the original property, if that makes sense. So I think Rogue One kind of teeters the line a little bit, but I
The
think
thing
that
is,
that more so you would probably get more out of it if you watch A New Hope.
the thing is, Rogue
Yeah,
One
I
is
agree. That's
basically pointless. Like it's a movie about something we already knew from a previous movie. Whether we have the connecting pieces to episode 4 or not, the movie stands on its own. It's just a plot that makes it has no effect on the world.
See, I disagree because just because it's not necessary, I'll agree with that. You absolutely didn't need that movie. But I think it is cool to explore the history of the world and in a way so that did it in a more meaningful way. Like I enjoy Solo; it's my guilty pleasure, but it's a shit movie. It's a terrible movie.
I don't like Solo.
And Solo
hate
is the
Solo.
example.
My
of how
I don't hate
apologies,
it.
my friends. I need to leave.
Oh,
I need to
that's
head out now.
fine.
I just didn't want to like interrupt.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that. Thank you. I might come back in later, but I'll see. Thank you.
meeting
Before
you.
you go, would you like to promote your? Oh,
Oh,
damn.
His channel's in the description box.
Oh yeah, it's just I always love to like give people the opportunity to promote their shit.
Well, we'll promote it for him. Check out his channel
Yeah.
in the description. He probably makes cool stuff. I haven't seen any of his videos, but they look cool.
Actually,
like,
I saw one of his videos, commented on it. He replied, and then we got on Discord. We talked about it. And it was a How to Train Your Dragon. Like, we can react to one of his videos because I asked if he'd be fine with it. Like, we're gonna.
I'm not gonna have time to do that because I was
That's
actually gonna
fine.
say I gotta leave in a few minutes myself because I got a bunch of stuff. I mean, I planned on leaving like an hour ago. It's been fun conversations.
Yeah,
That's how it always
it-
goes.
conversation.
Anybody's
But,
like everybody's welcome to stay as long as they can / want.
All right. So
yeah,
I'm gonna.
but
I think what I'm gonna do is gonna say my thoughts on Rogue One, and then I'm gonna head out. For
yep.
Rogue One, I agree it was not a necessary movie. However, I think it was a good example of how to like execute like an unneeded story, right? Like I think Solo was unneeded and executed poorly. That's one of those movies I think is so bad it's good kind of thing, like Batman and Robin.
Mm,
Like I think Solo is just so shitty it's funny, but
it
That's
did
fair.
Rogue
ruin
One.
Han.
I mean, I just consider it a borderline parody movie to be honest. But
Fair enough.
Rogue One told it was kind of like the precedent to Andor, which I think is one of the best Star Wars pieces ever made. And I mean, I guess it literally was Andor's a spinoff of that movie, but
Yeah.
it kind of shows a grittier side of the rebellion, right? A lot of the rebellion was kind of like the highlight reel. Like the Rogue One shows kind of the more devastating losses, the nobodies who make wars happen, right? Because at the end of the day, right, like all the original trilogy was focusing on the generals and the like the Jedi, right? Like the big, powerful, meaningful people. Where Rogue One's kind of the nobodies who get forgotten about in wars like this. Because that's what happens. Like I mean, you go to the monument in Washington D.C. about the Vietnam Memorial. I forget the name, but like you see all those names on that monument, right? No, they all have stories, right? And like no one talks about them. And this is kind of like what Rogue One did. It gave those people a story, and I think it did a pretty cool job of doing it. I really like Rogue One. That is
I
one of
like the
my
idea of Rogue One too.
yeah.
And I need
Yeah.
to watch Andor. I heard it's
I
really
don't
good,
have a
but
problem
I
with
like
Rogue
Rogue One.
One at all. It's
And
more like
Andor
it's
is borderline the best Star Wars thing ever made. I think you could make an argument it's better than Empire Strikes Back.
oh,
I
okay.
can see
I
that.
wouldn't go that far.
I
I
think
can
don't
see
have
the
to see that.
argument. I wouldn't agree with the argument,
I
but
probably won't agree with it when I eventually watch it, but I can see the argument for it. Just hearing
I can
how
see
great
why you would
it is.
love it as much, but quality wise, I don't think
for
it reaches.
cultural impact,
Well,
Oh,
no,
cultural
no, no,
impact,
not even
absolutely
cultural
not.
impact.
But
It's just like, um, Empire has a fuck ton more things to balance and be consistent with than Endor did. Endor had to just be consistent with Rogue One, while Empire had to be consistent with basically the core foundation of Star Wars.
so just A New Hope.
I mean,
Hope is a really good
you
movie.
actually, if you look at it, Empire is actually very inconsistent with A New Hope. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there's so
you
much
know,
recontextualization. I
Like,
mean, it did a
they
good job
like
of recontextualizing
George
things.
Lucas
But
made
yeah,
spoilers Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader's Luke Skywalker's father. Ooh, but he made that twist like on the fly when he wrote it. I think like that
yeah, it
wasn't
was
planned when
so
they
good.
Oh
made.
no, it was
Uh,
yeah,
planned.
there was
It's
supposed
just
to be
that
a
they
whole other
didn't
character
tell.
that's supposed to be Luke's sister. It wasn't supposed to be Leia originally. Like,
right,
there's
Yeah,
such a
exactly.
lot
those,
that
those
Not
it
choices
that was
are
not
been
planned.
awkward
That was
watching
not
yeah,
now.
planned at all.
and you can make the argument that because Andor came out in such a tumultuous time with the new canon and with people being mad and everything that's changed in like just 45 years of history, whatever it is, that it actually had more to deal with as far as balancing and not breaking continuity and everything. So
I agree with
again,
that.
I'm
And
not
also,
saying
Well,
Andor is better than Empire.
well,
Empire
no,
is
it's
my
more like
stand.
you know what the funny thing is? Tony Gilroy actually read up on Wikipedia so he wouldn't contradict things. Like who would
Yeah.
have thought? Like
That's
imagine actually like taking time and care to not contradict things where you can. Like that's like Giga Chad move in my opinion.
that is, I
Wikipedia.
would argue that's like the base requirement for a sequel
Yeah.
or any like
Yeah, but
doing a
people, that's the
project
point.
in
People
a
don't do
universe
that, which is
preset
kind of
universe.
sad. Like it's like he actually, it's like it is sad as to state, but like he is the exception where he actually did his homework to make sure everything like lined up. Whereas like other writers either don't care or actively reject what came
Yada,
before.
Or outright contradict it and burn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
The
anyway, on
Last
that
Jedi.
note,
Yeah.
I do gotta go. I gotta hit the gym. I
Yep.
gotta prepare for my own stream later, and then I got family coming over. So I
Yep.
got a lot to do. It was good talking with all you. Quick plug on
That's
my
talking to you
channel.
too.
I'm Iron Mandrill. You can find me in the comment section. I make stuff and talk about things. So anyway, thanks for
Yeah.
having me. Good talking to
It
all
was
ya.
great having
And
you on, mate.
See you,
Take
buddy.
I
care.
also have to join Iron Mandrill and the other guy. What was his name? Ethan Mastercrafter. I do need to leave as well. I was actually supposed to record 2 videos today, and I've gotten some technical issues with that. So I'm already behind, and I won't join this call.
If you want, we
I'll be
can.
sorry with the Toy Story 4 comment. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was nice talking to you guys too.
Yeah, it was nice
should
having you
definitely
on.
do this again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. Thanks for coming on. Let's take some
no
balls.
problem. Yeah, no,
No,
I
no
love
4v1.
Toy Story.
The,
I'm at Toy
you
Story
are
4 Defender, so
that's the thing.
yeah,
You're always welcome to hop on and like
appreciate
bring
that.
topics to discuss.
Thank you. And if you want me to plug my stuff,
Yes, of
I have
course.
a YouTube. Yeah, I'm small YouTube channel, A2P3. I make video essays. I had a video called Why the Boys Are Scary that blew up, but I don't really care about it anymore. But I'm making 2 new videos right now. Hopefully, one of them will be out by the end of the year. We'll see, but look forward to that. And I also stream on Twitch. Just look up the same name if you want to find me there. But yeah, thank you guys for having me, and look forward to collaborating with you guys more in the future.
Yeah, no problem. You're
Alright.
always welcomed on the stream whenever you have a topic to discuss or whenever you see a topic that you would like to join in on.
Okay. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yeah,
Bye
thank
bye.
you guys.
Have a
Bye.
great day, fellas.
See you, boys.
I assume you also have to go soon or now?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take off as well. I think this was a fun stream, dude.
Yeah,
I
it
appreciate you
was an
putting it together.
amazing discussion. Would you like to quickly wrap things up on the? Did we wrap it up completely on the?
With How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah. We got
Toy
deviated
Story.
with the whole Toy Story thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Just to kind of wrap up, I think we're pretty much in agreement. This How to Train Your Dragon movie did not need to exist, at all. Much like Toy Story 4 did not need to exist.
Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon remake is, I hope I hope it's cool. I don't think it does really any, the old movie's still there. We can still go watch that instead of this.
Yeah.
But I do think it's sad that we're at the point with modern filmmaking where we're going back to the barrel, not even like making sequels of other things. We're just remaking the old things. I think that's a sad state of affairs for modern movies. And as far as Toy Story 4 goes, I think got all our thoughts out on that.
Yeah. We pretty much sealed that one in a body bag.
Yeah, I super big props to Agent P for coming on.
Yeah,
and
big
giving his
props.
side of things. I think he's got a cool perspective on it. He's one of those happy people, who's positive about everything.
I agree. The thing is, I'm fine with him having that perspective. The only thing that icks me or like kind of irritates me is when people like passive aggressively deny the evidence against something being objectively good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, I have this in other types of discussions. If I talk politics with people or something, like I lay everything out, they go, "I agree with everything you said, and I don't care. I like it anyway." And at that point, you just
that's fine.
Kind of go hands off. You go, "All right, well, at least we got to the point where you can look at the facts, recognize that what I'm saying is accurate, but that you just don't care."
Yeah, I'm completely fine with that.
With it, yeah.
It was different with Agent P since he was like, either I disagree or I understand your points, but that doesn't make it bad. Like, so what's the standard of making something good or bad?
Yeah, and for some people, it's just like if I had fun watching it, that's their standard for making it good. And again, I can respect that. I
That's
go,
fair,
if that's your standard, that's
but
great. But
it's not
in
a
that
high
case,
standard.
It's well, again, it comes back to the objective versus subjective thing, where some people, the subjective experience is the most important thing to them, and that I do think is valid. But if you're having a discussion about the actual quality of the art,
Exactly.
then you might just need to recuse yourself from the discussion, because if it's only as good or as bad as any person thinks it should be, then there's no standard for art. And you can have a pink unicorn show up in Star Wars and it's fine because that's just what the writers want to happen. I don't find that satisfying at all personally, but yeah. But I do have to go. I gotta go feed my kid.
Would you like to plug your channel real quick?
Yeah, of course. My name's Max. I go by Max of Zorro here on the YouTubes. I've got 3 videos out right now. I'm super new to YouTube. I just started about 6 months ago. Right now, everything that I'm doing is on Star Wars because that's the thing that I have the most thoughts about right now. But future content is going to include everything from Star Wars content to Gilmore Girls to everything in between. So if you are into just media discussions, love to get the sub over there. Anybody watching? Next video that I have coming out is going to be about the Clone Wars, like we talked about at the beginning.
Yep.
It's going to be a long series. There's going to be other videos interspersed in between. But on Tuesday, I'm actually going on a podcast with a couple of sequel defenders to debate. They covered 2 of my videos, and they invited me on to quote unquote re-educate me. So that'll be an interesting debate discussion. I've got a 10-page paper of notes right now.
Got room for
preparing
one more?
for that one, yeah. So that'll be Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. It's Dyad and the Force podcast is the one that's going to be on. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll be on there. I'll be in Agent P's position. I'll be the one kind of defending my hot takes. But yeah, I super appreciate you bringing me on here.
It was
chat.
a pleasure having you on.
It was
mate.
awesome.
And ask if they got room for one more, because I might join you on that sequel debate.
Okay, yeah, I'll reach out to him.
Yep. And that about wraps it up. For everybody still watching, you can find everybody else, like everybody that was on the podcast, in the description. I think I have everybody that joined in there. I'll double check.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yep. Please go support them. They're really amazing and chill dudes. Even P3.
Oh, he's super chill. He's wrong, but he's super chill.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he
he's-
engages it with it in good faith. So
He's
I'm
the
all about it.
he's the best like disagreement like discussion I've ever had. Like
Oh, yeah.
usually people just end up screaming at me because I keep pressing I keep pressing that bruise spot where it actually hurts. Like, this is not objective.
Yeah, but he was like, he took it on the chin and gave it right
Yeah,
back.
well,
So,
I respect
super
that,
props to
and
him,
he
yeah.
was calm and civil about it. He has more respect than most of the other people that I criticized on the podcast or ended up arguing with in my private life.
Yeah, he's super chill.
Yep, and I cannot wait to like have more podcasts with you guys. Like, this is really entertaining and arguably the best one of like the second best podcast episode I've had so far.
I'll have to check out the best one.
It's called the Great Helldivers Debate.
Ooh.
Yep. I have a Helldivers review on my channel, and I would highly recommend watching that and maybe going in the comment section if you want like extra like context. But basically, I got the criticism towards my review in the comments, and I invited the person over on the podcast, and genuinely one of the best debates I've ever had so far. Like, this is on par. Like, it's close. It's cutting it real close.
Oh, I have to check that out, man. I love Helldivers. It was super fun.
You're gonna hate my review then.
Oh no, I mean I don't consider myself a gamer, bro. So like I don't grind
Oh,
hard
no,
on the game. I just hop in.
I make
and
harsh.
I played it back when it was kind of at its height. So before any of the controversy really kicked up with it. I'm interested to go.
I wrote before the controversy. The PSN controversy thing was like brand new when I like finished up the review. It was just before the patch where the difficulty got fixed. Like, the day I released the review, they patched the difficulty.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Yeah, this is, and it's why I covered it in the podcast. Like, the podcast is post patch, is after like I think it's 2 or 3 days after. But overall, it's the end all be all kind of like discussion on Helldivers after the review.
Nice. Yeah, I'll check it out for sure.
Yep, and I cannot wait to see your
Bum, bum,
Clone
bum,
Wars
bum, bum.
episodes.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm really excited. It's gonna be a fun ride. I'm hoping to get some recording done this afternoon, and then it's gonna be the editing dungeon for a few weeks, and then it'll be released hopefully before the end of the year.
If you need help with anything in terms of editing and audio or anything, like, do hit me up. I'm willing to help.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Sweet.
And
Alrighty.
you're free to go. I'll wrap it
Alright.
up here as quickly as I can.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Bye bye.
Goodbye. So that wraps up this episode. I wonder what I should title this one. It was a doozy. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the How to Train Your Dragon Insight discussion that we had. The, I'm a huge How to Train Your Dragon fan. It's like the franchise of, like, it's a beloved franchise of mine, and seeing it being butchered with a shitty TV show, then being like remade in this abysmal like skin, really like drove me like nuts and pushed me to like immediately talk about it. When the movie comes out, I will watch it and make a critique series on it. I know I haven't posted about like I haven't posted part 2 of my Assassin's Creed Mirage critique. That's sitting on a back burner right now. I'm focusing on just making as much content as possible as soon as possible, because of the Christmas, like the holiday season. Work is ramping up, so I have less time than usual to work on my stuff. And on top of that, I'm trying to figure out moving to the US, so that might also be a pretty big gap of content. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Do check out Max, Ethan, Iron, and Agent P. Did I miss anybody? Nope, I got them all. Yes. Do check them out. They are very chill. They're like just talking with them before the stream started and throughout the stream really got me excited to see what content they make. I've known Iron for a while. I've met Max like a couple days ago because on the Iron server, because I asked about people interested in the topic. Ethan was a surprise because I found his How to Train Your Dragon video talking about the whole live action remake bullshit, and his video is a pretty 50-50. He could have dug his fangs in deeper on the topic, but he was still like he was being respectful and trying to appease both sides, as in like see the different perspectives and come to his own conclusion, which I respect. And he's a pretty chill dude. So yeah, I highly recommend looking at his content if you enjoy Sonic or random criticism. His channel is quite diverse, so I highly recommend giving it a watch. See if you find something that interests you. Iron makes really interesting critique videos as well. I've watched a few of them, and they're really pleasant to listen and watch and think about. So I think that's about it. Agent P is I've just met him today, so I'm eager to see what he's posting. I'm gonna check out some of his videos, possibly even respond to some of them on the podcast when he's not around. But other than that, or even when he is here, I'll be happy to listen to his responses to the criticism. But other than that, hope you liked this mayhem of a video or podcast, and have a fantastic night. Bye bye.